Hello and welcome to the Video Game Dads podcast. This is episode 35.
35.
Hey, this is how old I am. I just realized. Yeah. All right. That means that it's a good luck episode for everybody. So the Video Game Dads podcast, we're three guys in a basement talk gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. We are a tri-weekly, not bi-weekly. We are try, and there's three of us here tonight, so that makes a lot of sense. We're going to be get together every 3 weeks. So this will upload on a Monday. Know that 3 Mondays from then, we will upload a new episode. Just so you know, guys, we're really going to try our best to stick with this schedule. Every 2 weeks, it just wasn't working out, and I think every 3 weeks will be our Goldilocks sweet spot. Just right. My name is Ben.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Michael.
And Shane's got the I've got a family and I'm sick.
He's got the sniffles. They've been his entire family's been stricken by the plague. I think all the kids were sick last week. And now he's sick this week.
Yeah, so Shane, get better, but we'll be holding it down for you.
We miss you.
Yeah, so those new to us, we are a family-friendly podcast, so no cussing, so you can listen to this with your kiddos in the car or whatever, but not any promises without no adult content. That's what I'm trying to say. So Adam, if people want to get in touch with us via the electronic mail,
The interwebs.
yes,
They can go to
the algors.
yeah. They can email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com, or they can go to Facebook and get us at facebook.com/videogamedads and message us there.
Yeah, and then the Twitters are at Video Game Dads. Is that right, Michael?
I believe that's right.
Yeah, and I'm getting the Twitter back on there, so please follow us on Twitter. Yeah, because also I had a contest on Twitter, and our Facebook's a lot bigger, and I want to do a smaller one on the Twitter because you got a better shot. We were giving out a little merch. I guess I could say it now since it's out there. I'll put something up maybe as a little contest on Facebook this weekend. We got some hats, so kind of a limited run of hats.
And they are super cool hats.
Yeah.
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 We'll put some pictures up.
I just thought I was looking around. It's been something I've been wanting to do, and I got some.
Looks great.
Yeah, thank you for the graphic artists at I think it's Logo Up. Anyway, so no shout. They didn't give me a discount or anything, but maybe they will now. Go to Logo Up.
I bet that won't happen.
Yeah. LogoUp.com.
Yeah, they are super cool hats, though. I leveled up, actually, when I put mine on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I killed some ogres.
You can wear it forwards or backwards.
Or even to the side.
Yeah.
You can wear it flat build like the kids.
No, don't do that.
Or you can bend it like the old guys.
So I made sure to get dad hat kinds with the nice bill and the curve. So anyway, it's just a fun thing. It's a limited thing. I actually don't even know how I'm going to kind of set up. We'll announce something soon on Facebook. But anyway, I got some hats. It's kind of fun. So what else did we talked about everything, who we are, what we do. We should kind of get started about the rundown. This episode, guys, we've got some really special stuff for you. Besides the normal video game book club and our handheld holla, we got some pickups, of course. That's also another segment, which we were going to call Daddy Acquisitions, but Michael thought of
Paternal pickups.
Yeah, I just like that. So we're going to do the handheld holla, the paternal pickups, and then listener responses and reviews. And then also some things we'll talk about. This new Mini Neo Geo. Huh? Yeah. It's like the Mini Neo Geo Classic coming out. We'll talk about that. Streets Rage 4.
Streets Rage 4?
Yeah. It's been
nobody expected it.
30 years now. And then Spyro got delayed. Talking about this new kind of free Xbox. People get out. Xbox.
Free or fingers quote.
Yeah, fingers quote. We'll talk about that a little bit. I bought a PS4 Pro. If you follow us on Facebook, you'd see a terrible video.
Quit the job, going pro.
Yeah, we're going pro. You can see a terrible video of me unboxing it as if I'm in Bangladesh or something because it's all messed up. I will never.
Bangladesh.
I will never do Facebook Live ever again because that was bootsy.
Our listeners just left from Bangladesh.
Peter Parker is now out and about and getting some good reviews. We'll talk a little bit about that, aka Spider-Man. And then also there's these mini arcades coming out. Arcade 1-Up.
Yep. On the rage.
And then PRGE, also known as Portland Retro Gaming Expo, is a month away. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. Another fun part of this episode, at the end, just like last episode, we have a couple bonus interviews. Last time we had Kelsey and Jake from Missouri GameCon. And this time we have 2 interviews. One from Radical Reggie of the Metal Jesus crew, good friend of mine. Great little interview there. And also Adam Koralik, fun little interview. They're each like 10, 15 minutes. Yes, different.
Yeah,
Adam.
this one knows a lot more about stuff than I do, especially the Dreamcast.
Yeah, and I always remember his name, Adam Koralik. I always want to say Koralik, like the guy that whatever. But anyway, or Corolla or something. But anyway, Dreamcast guy. He was gracious enough to do a little interview. Listen to those. Sorry, the audio quality won't be as great. Or if you just chimed in just to listen to that, that will be at the end of the episode. So skip through us. But why do that? We're going to have a great episode up for you guys. And listen to but if anyway, you want to skip ahead, it will be at the end of this episode. So listen to that. Stay tuned. All that's coming up on your episode of Video Game Dads podcast number 35. How are you guys doing? Let's talk real stuff now. Let's simmer it down. I'm getting a little too excited. So Adam, let's talk about what you've got going on. You've gotten some new level in your life.
Everything was going pretty good, and then my life got turned upside down, like Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
and I'm moving
on up.
Right.
Well, sort of. Not really from whatever he did, Philadelphia to L.A.
West Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm moving from one side of Kansas City to the other side.
West side?
Yeah, you are going west.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my wife, this is about like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
She says, I want to buy a new house. And I was like, oh, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And so then we bought a new house.
All right.
And so now we're moving to that new house.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. So when we will probably have the podcast in that digs here soon in a few.
Yeah, I'm excited about it from a video game perspective because the new place has right now it's like a workshop, like a 2-car garage with like a workshop on it.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice outbuilding, but it's not finished in.
Okay.
But it's going to be soon, so I'm going to put an air conditioning and heating system on it.
Cool.
You know, put up the drywall, put a nice floor in it.
Nice.
And it's going to be like a 1,000 square foot standalone arcade / game house.
That sounds awesome.
And we'll
/ recording studio.
We'll
when
put
I'm
it
done with
on Google Maps too, so everybody can come and check it out. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not on Google Maps. No, we might take pictures and put them on Facebook.
Yeah, I
though.
just got more excited for you to get this new house. Actually,
Yeah, no,
so
it's good.
I
It's
can go
gonna,
hang out in this.
It's going to be
awesome-
flipping sweet. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be out there all the time. It's going to be awesome.
Cool. Yeah, that's always
See ya, honey.
stressful, but awesome. What about you, Michael? What have you been up to?
Well, about a month ago, I had a new addition to the family, a new baby boy, Noah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we've been kind of had my hands tied with him and my toddler at the same time.
Yeah, how old's the other toddler?
He is 2 months, or 2 months. He is about 2 years and 2 months
That's like,
old. Yeah,
There's something.
Yeah, Michael's
double
married,
uterus.
Michael is married to a rabbit.
yeah, he grew up fast. No.
It's like the movie Jack or something. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. So no, I just have been kind of had my hands tied with both of them, and it's been really fun. And this whole process has just been really amazing. It went a lot smoother than our first child. We had a little bit of issues with whole childbirth.
Right. Yeah.
But this one went smooth, and it was awesome.
That's good to hear because I had a childbirth thing not so great, and the second one, so yeah.
My story, we didn't really talk. I actually heard about your story before I was actually on the podcast.
Yeah.
And my first child was exactly the same as yours. Where
okay.
they have like that APGAR scale, and mine came out like 1, which means he only had a heartbeat.
Yep.
So there was no breathing, a lot of other stuff going on. So
Yep.
it was very scary for the first 5 to 10 minutes. So really having this second child, it just made me worry a little bit more, and to have everything go so smooth was just just weight off my shoulders. So
awesome, yeah.
But it's just an awesome experience. So just been enjoying that, having the new baby. It's like a little heater whenever you're holding them. You forget about that.
Babies it's incredible how much heat they generate.
Yeah.
They're pretty
forget about
thermodynamic,
especially the boys.
Yeah. No, they're amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. Congrats again, Michael. Noah, and what's your other boy's name?
Alexander.
Noah and Alexander. Cool.
Yeah, and Alexander's really loving his little brother, so and that's been great. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Bash is doing great too. He's now able to we go out places and stuff. Now that he can walk well, and he's more interactive and that kind of stuff. It's fun. I don't know. I don't have as cool of stuff to talk about. The only other thing is, I remember a few episodes ago I talked about P90X. I will just be first to say I fell off that like I fell off a dang cliff. I was doing it, P90X.
I feel like that's most people with those exercise regimens.
Yeah, and I will tell you this after doing it. Okay, so it is so extreme.
It really is.
It is so extreme. I didn't realize it was an hour and a half. I stuck with it for about 40 days, and I was doing really well, like body wise, and like I had people's comments at work, which
that's about where I fell off the truck last time I did it, around 40 days.
Yeah. Okay, so it was.
It's the pull-ups one is the one that got me. He's like, let's do another 80 pull-ups, and I'm like, screw you, dude.
Yeah.
Some of us are doing this because we're a little overweight, man. 80 pull-ups is a lot.
It was just a large length of what happened was my brother came into town and I fell off like a train because it was so. I thought 7 days a week. It just wasn't manageable because of the time too. Every workout was at least about 70 minutes.
Yeah,
and so I will be happy to say. Because I still want to get my health in order and stuff. I don't have the best genes in the world, not acid wash, but you know what I mean, like the DNA and stuff like that. I found a new program called Hammer and Chisel. So it's pretty.
I haven't heard of this.
It's on the Atari 2600.
Yeah, it's on there. But no, so far I like it because here's the biggest thing. It's only 30 minutes, and it's so doable now. So I wake up at 5. And what I also love about it, it's hammer's the like you're lifting, and the chisel is like more like the more like cardio stuff.
Plyometrics.
Yes, plyometric cardio stuff. And there's a girl doing one of them, and she's like, you could bounce a quarter off any part of her. She's very kind of petite, but she is strong as heck. So she's really motivating. But the best part of this program, it came out like 2 years ago. We just have it on the Beachbody thing because it's free to just like listen to and watch. The guy trainer is the most non-intentionally funny guy I've ever seen ever. So he's as big as Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's got a big dumb accent like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's trying to be motivating, but he's like built like a brick house. And like
he's like
up
Drax.
There. Well, no, it's just yes. No, that's great.
You're describing Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
So he's basically, if you took Drax and took away the makeup and you tried to make a human out of him, it is just hilarious because he just gets up. And the first thing he's like, "Okay, everybody, let's go," and he's got his like hair up, and he'll say, "Let's do this, yeah, right." And then the people behind him, one of the guys working, say, "Yeah, baby," and he's like, "I'm not your baby, I'm the Beastmaster." And I'm like trying to work out. I was just like, "Are you serious, dude?" And he's just like, and he's always like trying to motivate you, but someone motivating you that you can tell can't relate to anybody. He's just being cool. He's like, "Are you a doer or a don'ter?"
Well, that's what I would need. Entertainment.
Like, are you feeling that sweat? I want you to dream about this, and I will dream about you. And I was like, what? Yeah. So it's just, anyway, check out Hammer and Chisel. For a dad, it's 30 minutes a day, and you still get days off. And P90X, God love you. That is for sub-crazy humans. That good for you if you can do it. But anyway, that's the only other thing I'm doing. So I'm going to try to stick with it, doing the old exercising. But as far as our topics and stuff, as per usual, why don't we get started with our video game book club?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. They're the world's most fearsome fighting team.
We're really hip.
They're heroes in the half shell, and they're green.
Hey, get a grip.
When the evil Shredder attacks, these turtle boys don't cut 'em no slack. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Splinter taught them to be ninja teens.
He's a radical rat.
Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines.
That's a fact, Jack.
Raphael is cool but rude.
Give me a break.
Michelangelo is a party dude. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
All right, our video game book club was brought to you by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant
Yeah, here's in a half shell.
Ninja Turtle.
Turtle power.
It really annoys me because my wife says like turtles in the half shell, and I'm like, that's not right at all.
Hey, dude, at least she tries.
You know,
right?
it's amazing to me that my kid's getting into Ninja Turtles now.
Oh,
you know,
cool.
like he's
Oh,
doing the
that's
same
awesome.
thing. He's doing the same thing I was doing when I was roughly his age.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing to me that they're still around. Like that could have lasted this long.
Yeah. I mean, it's classic stuff. I quickly talk about this. You guys know this, but I'm thinking about if you've seen our stuff. I have a Nintendo Red Tent that's a Ninja Turtles converted one. That
Green
has,
tent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Green tent.
it's a green tent really. The Versus is 2 screens on each side. I've had it longer than any other thing, and I don't know what. I'm just getting kind of a wild hair. I don't really get rid of stuff, but I really started thinking there's something else I kind of want to get. That wouldn't replace it. It's awesome, but I just think it's just time. One of the monitors needs to be recapped, but it's got the original JAMA in it. I kind of customized it, but I don't know. I think it's time. Adam, you're kind of helping me with somebody who might help me with how to list it or whatever. But yeah, I think I might pass on. And it's weird. Have you guys ever had something where my wife? Here's the funny thing. My wife she could take it or leave if anything. She's not one that get rid of this stuff, but she's also like doesn't notice it. Like I could add 3 machines down here and she could come down and not realize that I did that type thing. 'Cause it's just not what she's into. But even when I told her I was doing that, she kind of looked at me like a little startled and taken back. Like, is something wrong?
That's right. Next thing you're going to get a Miata and a ponytail.
Yeah. I know. It's not. It just feels like it's really weird to say. It just feels like the time.
Yeah.
I've got so many other games, and again, there's something else I want. I'm getting to the point where I'm literally, if I get something, I'm replacing it. I am not adding because there's something about like I feel like I'm at maximum stuff, and stuff once it starts to get like crutches around you.
Your room's nice in that it's not all like jammed together. Everything's spaced out real
I
nice.
loved
thanks.
that arcade machine back in the day, though. That was my jam.
Oh God! I mean, it holds up amazingly well. I love the heck out of it. And again, if I'm going to be able to like play that anytime I want, if I get what I want, kind of instead of it. Again, I'm just kind of getting it to get something else I want. But anyway, the Ninja Turtles, gotta love them. I'm still going to keep my pinball and all my other fun stuff, Ninja Turtle wise. I love it. Did you do a Ninja Turtles much, Michael?
Oh, as a kid, I loved Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And rest in peace. Those who don't know, Trivia Night. Shredder's voice was Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
That's right. I knew that.
Fresh
Yeah.
Prince of
Yeah.
Bel-Air's dad. That was Shredder. He did and then Krang was Betty White. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Well, yeah, before the Snickers.
Yeah.
Pre-Snickers, Brady White.
Yeah, so let's talk about our segment here. Video Game Book Club, easily our most popular segment on all the Twitter polls, CNBC, everything.
Definitely.
A Video Game Book Club is where the dads will pick a game from a system, not in the top 15-ish%, give or take, of whatever system we are on, and we'll play it in between our episodes and then talk about it much like a book club. We implore you guys to also do the same. This might also help you find some games you might like. At the same time, listeners can submit picks for the Video Game Book Club, and we'll pick a dad pick and a listener pick each episode. And the listener pick you can pick will be picked randomly and come from any system you want. We just have to stick with our system, which is, and make sure to email us any of your picks. Our system now is the
Dreamcast.
It's thinking, $99.99.
Yep, just passed its anniversary.
Yeah, our first we've had yes, we did. How many years now? We are at
19
19 years.
yeah.
19 years. This was the first year I didn't realize it on the day. It kind of makes me feel weird. It's kind of like an anniversary. I bought it right on that day, $99.99. Anybody else a launch guy here?
No.
Show of hands.
No, I didn't have any money back then. My
Yeah.
best friend bought it on launch day. So I played it on launch day at my friend's house.
I was blown away. I was in a Sears and I played NFL 2K on a demo kiosk, and I was just like, what?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. The 2K series, like the sports series, they were every bit as much of a leap as like Mario 64 was for
Yeah.
3D gaming. That was to sports.
Yes.
Like it was just I just remember like my jaw being on the ground.
Yeah.
Because they were so much ahead of like everything else that had been released to that point.
Yeah, for me, it was my freshman year in college. So, like, kind of in the dorms, people had the Dreamcast. And I mainly played the 2K games. And we even made, like, a drinking game with the hockey game. So every time, like, you got scored on, you had to take a shot. And let's just say I woke up in the hallway one night. And I'm pretty sure my buddy told me I took, like, 8 shots within an hour. And I was just, I was a lightweight. So.
Yeah, and so what's so weird now is us being dads now. I'm getting to this point where it's like the whole like, oh, we're older now, yada yada. But okay, you have 2 kids, you know, two and negative, basically, right? A month.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 kiddos, 4 and like what, 5 months?
5 months, yeah.
Okay. Wow, look at that. That was a good guess. I was totally random, but I'll pretend like I knew exactly how old little girl is. And then Sebastian's year and a half. Meatloaf, man. And then Shane has his brood. He's up to 6 now. No, I'm just kidding. He's got his 3 kids. But like the whole idea of what you just said is if we played games and did shots right now, how like
It would be over in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah, and like how we'd be like deadbeat dads if we're doing that kind of stuff. But it sounds really awesome. I actually I can say this, you know, even though you guys listen to us and it's good, like we always appreciate, this is a great thing to bring up to like your coworker, at the thing. It's like, is this guy cool or not? I listen to this podcast with word of mouth is kind of how we've gotten around. That sounded really bad. Also, if you write our email on the door of a bathroom, word of mouth got us around. I don't know what I was thinking with that. But I've got a couple work guys. I haven't told you this. We're gonna have a guys' night, games night, but it's not gonna be like us. They don't know how crazy I am. But we're gonna like play some games, play some board games of somebody I work with, and there'll be a few of us there. But anyway, so you never know. There might be another nerd among you. Just start talking to him about video games. It's not faux pas anymore, and you ladies too, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I even heard women can play games.
Yep, they sure can.
Yeah.
They make pink Game Boys and stuff. We're just kidding. We're just kidding. We obviously know tons of girls like games, and they get it so hard. On Twitter especially, we'll talk about this a little bit, but man, it's so funny. They're right on the nose. A lot of them. It's like the girl like YouTubers, like Kelsey and Kinsey, and of course like there's hundreds of others. Cannot Be Tamed. She's really good. She's been there forever. They'll be like, hey, we have to take a shot for every comment of like, show me your BEWBS, or like, oh, you play games and you're a girl, like all these like it's like this top 10 of comments they always get, and I would say like, yeah, like if I was a chick and I like games, I probably would not have the courage to be on YouTube.
I wouldn't. YouTube is full of miscreants and lowlifes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Norm.
And us.
And us. Okay, we're on there.
Yeah, no. But anyway, I digress about that. We could do a little bit better. Not necessarily. We're not preaching to the choir here, because I think our community is pretty respectful. And if you're not, you're bored to heck of all us anyway, because we're boring as heck. We're a bunch of dads talking about the old video games. So let's get to it. Our video game book club. What were our picks? We already know one was Dreamcast, and that was Michael, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure.
That's right.
Yeah, a Capcom game.
That's right.
And then Legendary Wings.
Also a Capcom game for the NES.
Yeah, then the NES. I almost said SNES. And Nintendo tweeted out SNES is like the correct way of pronouncing it is SNES. They were asking which one,
really?
and they said SNES, but like who knows, right?
Yeah.
When they say like what
I don't like SNES.
I don't either.
I say SNES.
Oh.
Yeah, SNES sounds like something you clean off of like a burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
right.
just get rid of
Smack 'em up.
get rid of the SNES part.
I think of like like that snus, like that dip that people buy.
SNES is like a thing the dentist cleans off your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, SNES is kind of gross.
Oh, what if you're like real like just Super Nintendo? You could just say that.
That works.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
That is a great name for a game, right? Right? Or the Super Wii.
It's like the
Wii.
Nintendo, except it's Super.
Yeah. Wonderful Nintendo. All right. So what should we start with? What did we decide? What were we going to talk
Legendary
about?
Wings. Let's do Legendary Wings.
Yeah. All right. Adam, so tell us a little bit about this.
All right. So Legendary Wings is a video game by Capcom.
Yes.
Actually started out in the arcades. 1986 was the arcade release, and 1988 is when it came to home consoles.
Those are pretty early.
Yeah, so it's a fairly early NES game.
Good years, too. I love those years. A lot of good movies and stuff came out.
Yeah, and it has the old school sort of Capcom, game cover, from the NES era. They always had kind of a recognizable. It wasn't the one with like the laser lights in the back, like the Mega Mans and that sort of thing, but it still had a very unique cover.
How many do you guys know? Because you're on the spot, but those laser labels, how many of those they make?
I'm not sure. I mean, Bionic Commando has it. The Mega Man games have it. Commando has it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would guess like almost around
1942, 1943, I think both have that cover.
Yeah.
So it was a branding thing. But then other ones had this blue cover, and this has the same type of cover as the Disney Capcom games.
Oh, yeah.
So any of the Disney games from early on kind of match along with this one, so it's recognizable.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And on the cover of it looks like Icarus. It looks like a winged fighter. Essentially.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude.
Yeah.
He's got. I'm just saying, he's got a little bulge there, so good for him.
Yeah.
Much more detail in the photo than in the game, but you can definitely
Yeah,
tell it's a wing guy.
Yeah, you think? Yeah,
I think that's just a roll of quarters. Yeah.
Whatever you find. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, you got a wing in there. Who knows what you got there?
Yeah.
When you got wings coming out your back, everything's fair game, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Is he just having one thing over his shoulder? Have you noticed that? Like he's only got one shoulder.
Oh yeah,
cuff.
he's got like one. He's got like armor, but he's only got one shoulder covered.
Yeah, that's cool. But anyways, any more stats on that one?
Well, as far as price goes, a complete copy will run you about $20-$25. Loose carts, $8-9.
Yeah, so not too bad.
It's not a very expensive game.
Not bad. It's a pleasant surprise because I did not play this one back in the day. Anybody?
I didn't play it back in the day, but I got it I think 3 or 4 years ago, and that's when I played it, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I didn't play many shooters back, in the day that this came out. Because they were too hard. I mean, at 86, I was, or 88 rather, I was 6 years old. So
Yeah,
same with me.
I did not have the skills to play such a game. I arguably I still don't.
Yeah. But boy, I same here. I did not play it when I was younger. I was pleasantly surprised by this game for not being my normal genre I jump into. I kind of liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's sort of like a Greek mythology almost look to it. Yeah. And it's the thing that makes it sort of interesting, at least for the vintage, was that it's primarily a vertical scroller, meaning it scrolls bottom to top, or top to
south
bottom,
to north.
yeah. But it has like sort of side screens or side levels and that sort of thing.
Side-scrolling missions.
Yeah, they're side scroller, vertical.
Yeah.
I mean, horizontal scrolling.
Yeah.
Where it goes left to right, and so it's a mix of both gameplay styles. And for the era, that's kind of unique.
It is.
Yeah, it kind of sets it apart a little bit.
Did you guys have a preference of those? We never talked about it. I don't think this is like Coke or Pepsi. Do you guys like a vertical or a horizontal? What's your cup of tea? What tickles your pickle?
I don't know why, but I'm better at vertical shooters.
I
than
prefer
am,
vertical also.
Yeah, than I am horizontal. I don't know why that is, but it's. I've actually been playing R-Type on Super Nintendo, Super R-Type and R-Type 3, and they are so. I mean, and I know that they're hard shooters in general, but they are so hard. And a part of it, I think, for me, is that it's a horizontal scroller. I just am not as good at those.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why I'm not. But the vertical too. I mean, the arcades, they would have the vertical like screen, right? So you'd have see more real estate. 1942, 1943. Those are the big ones. I will say I played the snot out of those games.
I did too.
I'll tell you what's great though. One of the biggest benefits of having that video pinball cabinet that I do have is that I've been playing a lot of shooters on it. Vertical shooters.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
And it is so sweet to play vertical shooters on a big monitor turned on its side. Like they are awesome. I just play them. I just stand on at my pinball and look down at the vertical screen, and it's so good for shooters.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any more takes on it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it works. There are other shooters that are similar to this. So you have two primary attacks. So you have bullets that shoot out, which of course, you can pick up power ups and upgrade. So there's air based enemies, and those are the ones that you use your regular bullets on. But then there are also bombs.
Yep.
So they're ground based enemies. And Dragon Spirit was kind of like this. Galactic Attack kind of works like this. Alpha Mission for Neo Geo also is very similar to this, where you have this duality between bombing and shooting air-based enemies. And you can't shoot, you can kind of shoot both at the same time, or you can alternate shots, but if you focus on one, you have kind of a delay for the other, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
So you kind of have to have your bullet style, and then you also have to dodge enemies based on whether they're ground level attacks or air level attacks. And it's a pretty difficult game in general. Like it's unforgiving. It's fairly hard. But I kind of like it. I mean, it's I wouldn't say that it's aged tremendously well. There are better shooters, of this variety, but I think for the time that it came out and also that it's on the NES, I mean, it's a pretty serviceable game.
Yeah.
I think probably my biggest single knock on is I just didn't care for the music at all. The music is it's not terrible. There is worse music on NES games, but it's not the typical Capcom, like even Capcom games, like the early ones that don't have much music.
Yeah.
It's still usually kind of catchy and it sticks in your head and it's kind of you remember it and that sort of thing, and the only thing I think about this is I don't remember it being that good, but it's certainly not memorable. Like right now I can't even really remember the tunes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there are definite like soundtracks and stuff that kind of replay and loop that I like specifically turn off the volume for, and this one wasn't one, but it wasn't one that I remember also.
Yeah, it's just a really forgettable soundtrack, so the sound's not that good, but aside from that, I mean, I think it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I like the level design. I mean, right from the get-go, you kind of, the first level I felt was harder than I thought it.
Yeah, it's hard. It starts out hard.
Yeah, it starts out hard, and I almost feel like then it like almost gets easier or the same for a little while. So that kind of threw me off. I was like, God, this is going to be a trudge getting through this thing. But I ended up liking it. I like the the color variation. Sometimes I feel like there's too much going on. But I was able to see things really well. I mean, maybe that's also getting old or whatever. But I like the fact that for being NES, for as like flickery as everything can get, it wasn't bad.
And actually, I was actually surprised by the lack of flicker.
Yeah,
because especially on shooters, flicker can get really bad. On the NES.
And it's funny because as soon as something gets a little off, then the flicker starts. So you feel like it was riding the edge all the time. Because I did get to some flicker, but it would be random. There's also some interesting kind of bosses. I don't know if it's worth. I don't know. They're the first one's like a big old face that you shoot.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
go for the brain.
Yeah, and I don't.
That's a very common theme for whatever reason in Japanese developed shooting games, like having a big face or a brain that you shoot.
Yeah. God, that was even Virtual Boy Red Alarm. Even that is like a freaking 3D polygony game, and you still shoot a face at the beginning of it. It's a cool face, like comes out of the wall and stuff. But yes, shooting faces. Maybe there's something else into that.
Well, even Star Fox, the first Star Fox game, Andros, which I mean that game was developed in Europe, but big face.
Interesting. But if you think about it, like what else would they be shooting? A ship, which we already do.
Even Mario jumps on their head. I mean.
Yeah, at the beginning you could pull his face in 64. There's a little face fetish here going on in the old Japan.
I don't know. It's weird, man. There's always an exposed brain. Like, why are these monsters all walking around with their brains hanging out, just waiting to get shot?
Yeah,
and their brains take a lot of bullets too.
They do, and the eyes pop out and stuff like that.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, and they've always got something that shoots at you. They've always got that one thing coming at you.
Well, have you ever played off topic, but on topic, Blazing Star for Neo Geo?
No.
So the final boss in Blazing Star for Neo Geo is actually a fetus. Yeah, that shoots. It's a little baby attached by an umbilical cord. That it actually is a really tough bounce battle. but it shoots all kinds of weird stuff at you. But it's a baby that starts out attached and then it detaches and it has like a giant cannon that it's shooting at you. You should YouTube this if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about because it will make you have nightmares.
Yeah, it's
super Japanese.
It feels like the director was going through some stuff. Through
Blazing
this,
Star.
Definitely one of the craziest bosses I've heard of. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Blazing Star. Okay, all right.
Definitely out there.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the website Hey Poor Player?
No.
You never heard of that? Well, that's where the term comes from. Is Hey Poor Player. That's from Blazing Star.
Oh,
because every time you die, it
your
taunts
base
you.
are belonging to us.
It taunts you in this really bad English.
Yes,
and it says Hey Poor Player. Just to rub it in. When you die. Yeah.
That's funny. All right, good. So Legendary Wings. Anything else we got on this sucker?
No, I don't think so. I got the back of the box.
Yeah, let's read the old back of the box. This is the only way we would tell if we would rent this thing back in the day at the old Blockbuster Hollywood.
There are a lot
Video.
of words, and I was actually surprised by some of the things that are on the back of this box. But
You could abridge some of it if you want.
all right, so it starts out with Capcom logo, and underneath that it says "Premier Worldwide Arcade Game Designer." So Capcom was pretty big on themselves around this time.
Yeah. Their nose is growing, and their head is growing. Yeah.
So here we go. Legendary Wings. 20,000 years in the future, mankind has built a giant supercomputer named Dark to rule the planet for hundreds of years. Dark has governed with wisdom and justice, but now the unthinkable has happened.
Yeah.
Dark is malfunctioning, and humanity is writhing in the grasp of a ruthless tyrant. Dark has built a fleet of robot warships to patrol the skies and has created an army of mutant monsters to guard the underground bases from which he now terrorizes mankind.
It's like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Terminator. And I really thought when I first started playing this, I was like, oh, it's Greek, it's Rome. But it's all future-y stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was like alternate past, with like technology
Yeah.
and stuff. But
Well, good
no,
for them
it's-
making this story.
It's alternate future.
Yeah.
Lulled by hundreds of years of peace, the people of Earth are defenseless against the minions of Dark.
Oh, man, chapter 2 we're at.
But two brave young men, following an ancient legend of Greek mythology, have devised mechanical wings to bear them aloft in search of Dark's forbidden fortress.
Whoa, to bear them aloft.
Bear them aloft,
That's
yeah.
deep.
Two guys, huh? Ambiguously. Okay, go ahead.
Armed with the last remaining guns and missiles from a crumbling arsenal, you must fly them across the continents and oceans to seek out and destroy the cruel Colossus. Robot warships, floating mines are a constant menace, and you must beware of the giant head, a grotesque stone face guarding the entrance to each of Dark's underground bases.
Those heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the horizontal
Yeah.
levels. If you approach too near to its gaping mouth, you'll be sucked into the depths where the bizarre mutant monsters prowl the corridors. If you fail, mankind is lost. Take wing, legendary soldiers.
I like it. So good for that person who wrote that.
Yeah.
They enjoyed
It's
their
very
job
detailed,
for that.
yeah.
Good for that. I always get a little bit of a backstory. Can't wait to read the manual and fall asleep. My gosh, jeez. That's really cool, though, especially for a shooter, because like in the last two, we've had this is our freaking third NES shooter. I think.
Yeah, well,
like so.
the funny thing is, like, sometimes shooters have like these really intricate plots, and it's like, it's a shooter, man. Doesn't even need a plot.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the same with shooters and with fighting games. Like, there are all these fighting games where there's all this like taunting and talking between the things. And
Yeah.
I know some people get way into that, and jumping ahead a little bit, Jojo's way into that. But
Yeah.
like, who cares?
Yeah.
I was playing Tekken 7 before I got here, and there's just this whole huge story mode around Tekken 7. It's like, I don't care. Just get to the fight. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Hit the start button.
Yeah, I mean, cool FMV, but let's fight.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Cool. Well, Legendary Wings. Check it out. I think, for an $8 game, I definitely think it's worth that. You can obviously find it cheaper or whatever, bundle it up. But what was the other one we had? It was decent, the Dragon one.
Oh, Dragon
Dragon Spirit.
Yeah, that was good too, but I like this one.
That was actually my pick.
Yes, it was,
Before
yeah.
I was on here.
Yeah, and then you won the contest, and now I get to talk on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this game a lot. So pick it up, guys. Pick it up. Yeah, halfway thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
like
like
a
it.
3/4 thumbs up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say that too. Yeah,
Especially for the price.
yeah, if you want a shooter, go to another system. To be honest with you, but it's a good shooter. It's very competent. Plays well. All right, moving on. Shall we move on to our next game?
We should.
This one was picked by Michael, and it is. You go ahead and say the name, Michael.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, what a great title, huh?
Absolutely.
Intrigue, mystery, confusion.
Yeah.
Mostly confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed from the title like it was actually like a fighter, but I would have thought it was kind of like more of an adventure game.
Yeah.
But no, it's a 1v1 fighter.
Yeah.
But
2D.
Yep, 2D. Bright colors, awesome cutscenes.
Yeah.
It handles really well. Made by Capcom, obviously, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I didn't play a whole lot of Dreamcast because I never owned one.
Yeah.
But Adam kind of recommended it to me, and I've really enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, and it came out at the time when Capcom was kind of doing awesome stuff with 2D fighting games. They're kind of toward, I guess, and maybe this was in the latter part of their 2D fighting game prowess before everything moved to polygons. But
Yeah.
so this is kind of in the same herd as your Marvel versus Capcom. Marvel versus Capcom 2.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of feel I got when I first played it.
X-Men, Marvel versus Street Fighter.
Yep.
All of those games. I kind of lumped this with all of those, and it certainly plays, somewhat the same. And it was also an arcade game. I don't know that I've ever actually seen the arcade cabinet, and I don't know how many released in North America. It's based on a Japanese manga, anime kind of thing.
Fancy, where you're saying a comic book?
It's sort of, but they're bigger comic books, and some of
Yes.
them, from what I understand, you flip them. I think they read backwards, right? Like a lot of the manga, don't you start?
I think
with
there's
back?
videos, like 2 or movies or something.
Yeah, I think it's a cartoon or a movie
Yes, you're
or
right.
something
There's
like
a
that
series
as well.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at a synopsis of it earlier, and I'm just even more confused about what it's actually about than what I already was.
Yeah. It's the art style is great. It's got like you were saying, Michael. It's very colorful. It's very odd Japanesey.
Super Japanese.
Characters,
Yeah.
but it's got an interesting pull. Part of the pull of these things, it's kind of basically a persona or a stand, right? They call them stands.
Yeah, they call them stands, but they're very similar to personas, I guess, like from the Persona series.
Yeah, so explaining this a little more, I guess, for people. So 2D fighter, 1 versus 1, right? Street Fighter. Imagine all of a sudden if, Ryu or Baraka or give me another one. Raul Julia. What was he again? Sagna?
Bison.
M. Bison. All of a sudden, his soul comes out, and it's a Chihuahua or something. And then that Chihuahua will start fighting too. It's basically it's like this secondary persona that
It's like
comes out.
a spirit version of the fighter that you can call upon to fight for you under your control.
Yeah. So really
Exactly.
interesting. And then the moves get really crazy. And then that person though is still there, so you still have like both people on the screen. It's not just like flips or something like MVK, Marvel vs. Capcom or something where someone else just jumps in. But that's the hook of the game that is different. That is very different. Yeah. They made one of these for the PS3.
Yep.
You can download PS4. Downloaded one.
You download on PS3 or PS4, I believe.
Yeah, it's All-Star Battle. It's a pretty uncommon game. And FYI, if you're looking for it out in the streets, it will not have a manual. Just because I own PS3. I have a big collection, and I kept looking for one. Like, the manual's gone. The manual's gone. Never came with a manual. But Dreamcast definitely did, because it's if you remember, those are jewel case clamshells.
Yep.
So if it didn't come with a manual, you're looking right at the dang CD.
Yeah. There's also a PlayStation version, like the earlier version of this. There were two arcade revisions in the earlier port of the arcade revisions on the PlayStation. I'm not sure if that came out in North America or not, honestly.
Yeah, you're
but
right.
when you boot up the Dreamcast version, it's like JoJo's Venture, and then there's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You get to pick between the two.
Yes.
And the Bizarre Adventure is kind of the sequel / updated version.
Yes, the better one, and better than the from reviews and stuff. And I don't have the other one to check on, but it's a very good game. I played it with the stick, the old Dreamcast arcade stick.
okay.
Yeah, that's a good arcade stick too.
And I
don't
forgot
have one of those.
how much better. I got a V stock for $25, I think, or something.
Nice.
Like that. Yeah, I need to get 2 because only having one, it's just like not fair
Right.
for the other person. Portland, you never know. Another thing, I mean, my brain. When you're about to go to a con, or just like thinking about another thing to pick up. They play so much easier on a freaking stick.
Yeah, they really
Gosh,
do.
it just
Yeah, I
does.
use the tank stick when I play it, but
Characters are very interesting. Do you have any favorites? Anybody? You don't have to know the names. Maybe just
no, I was going to say I'm not going to be able to name any names. I don't know that I developed any favorites, but
I like the guy with the black hat, and I feel like then I found out later he's the one that like people aren't allowed to pick because he's so much better. There's a little, there's a lot. What is it when I like
pick
the
the odd
handicapped?
job.
Yeah, basically. Except he's super tall. But yes, the odd job or the tall odd job. Yeah.
what the game actually reminded me of is if you took Street Fighter, like Street Fighter Alpha, or something akin to Street Fighter Alpha 2 or something, and then mixed it with Darkstalkers.
Oh yeah, good call.
So the personas would be like the Darkstalker characters,
Yeah.
and then the Street Fighter Alpha would be like the main characters. Mm-hmm. And it's just that it's like if you took those two games, then matched them to their alternate egos, and then had them fight together as the same person or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I sort of thought of it as.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put
as
it.
I was playing it, but it plays a lot like the Marvel vs. Capcom or Marvel vs. Capcom 1 or 2 or those, and the sprite work and everything and all the animations, of course, are really, really good.
Yeah,
And
that was what impressed me the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. It's only 1 to 2 player, which is interesting because Dreamcast has 4 ports, and maybe someone could hop in or something. But no, it's just 1 to 2 player, and it is VGA compatible for those playing on the old VGA. Everything is except like 5 games. Just so you know.
Yeah. When I got my VGA adapter, I knew that whatever it is, 3 or 5 games were not VGA compatible.
Yeah.
And I had Bangayo in my system, and I was like cussing and
Virtual.
like, why the heck doesn't get this thing work? And I spent like half a day trying to get this stupid thing to work, and then I realized that Bangayo was one of the games that is not VGA compatible. And then I just put in another disc. I was like, oh, it's worked the entire time. I've just been,
I
It's
have-
unlucky.
I have a pleasant surprise. I found out. I can't remember how, but there is a way you can bypass that now. That even the games that weren't VGA compatible, you can.
I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's actually by a pretty simple way by using the cheat code disc that the swap.
You have to boot it with like a Game Shark or
Yep,
something. Yeah,
with the Game Shark, and then you swap it out and put in, and that also allows you to play all regions on any Dreamcast.
That's cool. Nice.
Yeah, so you get that Game Shark for Dreamcast if you can ever find it. It's usually in a little orange clamshell box. They're usually asking for a lot, but still, Dreamcast is bizarre enough. Haha. Is odd enough that you could still kind of pick it up. Just wait for Andrew, Video Game Nerd, to make a video, and then you're screwed. Should I talk about the back of the box? Are we going to talk about it a little more? Music's okay.
Yeah, music's all right.
Yeah.
And price wise,
Good call. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of expensive. So a complete copy will run you around $90 right now.
But 50 for a loose, right? 50, 60
Yeah,
for a
50-ish for a loose.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's jumped up. Yeah, that was always one that hung around 40, 45 back when I was collecting. So that's quite a jump. I'll read the back of the box here. It's kind of hard for me to see, but let me see. Okay, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the arcade fantasy fighter from the incredible comic book series. Experience Super Story Mode, loaded with mini games and other dangerous quests. Unleash your character's inner persona in the famous Stand Attack. It's famous, guys. And
Famous.
lastly, classic comic book style animation combined with Capcom's signature gameplay. Capcom knew who they were back then. They're just kind of touting their own deal constantly, right?
Yeah, they really
yeah.
were. Yeah.
And they should. They made some great games. And this was an early one. This one came out, I want to say, in November. It wasn't a launch game, was it? Yeah, it came out, I think...
No, it was early, but I don't think
Yeah.
it was launched.
I think it was November. So
Yeah,
like 2
yeah.
months after. And talk about that launch window. Launch window should be 3 months, and we kind of changed it around, that kind of thing. This game was an early game. I thought they printed a good amount, but evidently not now if it's getting up to $90.
It probably just never got a reprint,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I bet you that is it. Not many Dreamcast did. It wasn't around very long. So that's our book club picks for this week, guys. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, good game, good fighter, and Legendary Wings, another nice little kind of pleasant surprise for a shooter for the NES. All right. All right, so let's move on to our. Let's see, we got any listener picks for the next video
Yeah.
game book club?
Yeah, we have a couple. So the first one is from Steve, and he says, "Hello, father of a 10, 8, and 4-year-old. Go Dads."
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
So putting into suggestions, says he was a big JRPG fan back in the olden days. Played a lot of sports games, and he was kind of a jock, and all of his friends played sports games.
Cool.
And nobody ever really branched out except for him. But he says that every time he thinks about a game that he always wants to go back to or thinks about as being sort of outside of the norm of what his friends played. The one that he always thinks about is the Horde on the Saturn. It's a Crystal
never
Dynamics
played that.
game
Yeah.
Kirk Cameron does the video cutscenes.
Cool. I like this. I like this pick.
So he says it might be hard to find, and it is kind of a hard game to find. But
Portland.
says that one of the things he remembers about is it had the GamePro ratings on the back with the little guys' heads
Yeah.
from GamePro.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, we'll throw that in. I actually have the Horde, so that's perfectly fine by me. So
Nice.
So we can play that.
Cool. Very cool.
From what I understand, or what I've seen of it, I don't know that I've actually played it yet. But it's sort of you have a certain amount of time, you build up you build up fortifications, then the horde, comes and you have to basically defend your property.
Kind of like a tower defense. type
Kind of,
thing.
yeah. It's like a old tower defense game.
Gotcha.
At least that's my impression of it. We'll see if it's right. And then we got one from Chuck, and he says, just wanted to add Suikoden. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, Suikoden.
Suikoden 2 for PS1.
Yeah.
Said he found it at a local game shop. And countless hours. You can do different characters and so on and so forth, and level people up. It's a I'm somewhat familiar with this. It's a JRPG, with different, with a robust class system.
Oh,
It's a Konami RPG. So this is like Konami's flagship, RPG from that era. So
No, a lot of people definitely want this game.
Yeah, it's an expensive game too. Actually,
Okay.
well,
Well,
it's one of the more sought after PS1 games.
cool. So we will add that into the listener pool, just so you guys know. Just if you have any other video game book club picks, just send us an email, and we'll put that in. And we ended up adding it to our randomizer, and we will see what we have.
All right. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so we have Euphoria from James,
Oh.
which is
nice.
which is an NES game.
Okay. All right. Euphoria.
Euphoria.
What kind of game is this?
I don't know. Don't know much about it.
Okay.
I don't either. I don't have it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
let's
kinda
keep
surprisingly.
it. Let's keep it like that. Not
Yeah.
look anything up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Euphoria, and I would like some Euphoria right now, right? Huh? Yeah.
Absolutely.
What state are we in? Colorado? No, just kidding. All right.
Euphoria is South Colorado, right?
Yeah. Eudora. Yeah.
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 Okay. Got it.
South Colorado. Yeah. Are you taking my joke somewhere? I can't even
I
follow.
don't even know where we're at right now.
Oh,
I
sorry.
mean,
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just saying about the plants that grow there that are legal to. Never mind. I digress.
well, they're not illegal
You're right.
in Colorado.
No, not in Colorado and Oregon or something like that. Euphoria for the NES is our listener pick. And now for our dad pick. It's my turn. I have the whole NES frickin' frack. The whole Dreamcast US collection. I don't know why I said NES because I have the least amount of NES games out of all the dads easily. It's my pick. Oh, and something you asked already, Michael, is like, oh, what's our next system? We decided this last time. We'll have to see. We said because the Dreamcast library is so good, we were going to do a double turn through this thing.
Oh, did we?
Because Shane was like, should I pick this one? Or like he was doing
I'm
Dynamite
totally down
Cop.
for it. Yeah.
I think let's do it.
I love me some Dreamcast.
Yeah, we're gonna go through Dreamcast one more time, probably much to Michael's chagrin and anybody else. Yeah, it's not the most common system, but it's totally fun, and we can always help with any other picks. But my pick. I was really thinking about this. I wanted to go with a game that has gotten some really great praise. I will say I actually haven't played this one, but I am willing to bet that it is worth the Video Game Book Club pick. That will be Tech Romancer for the Dreamcast. Yeah, what a great name, huh?
So this is like where you fall in love with your computer.
It is basically, yeah. So it's kind of like the soap opera of tech. What kind of game is this, Adam?
It's like a Gundam game.
It is.
It's like a mobile robot suit fighter something
Yeah.
or other. I've never played it.
Yeah.
But I've seen little snippets of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to play this one. I haven't played. I played Virtual On. I played a bunch of others, but this one particularly I have not played yet.
And it's a Capcom game.
It is a Capcom game. It got a great cover. It is kind of a rare game to find. It's not probably in the top 10, but it's definitely in the
Well,
top.
I think it came out really late, and I think it was one of the last games printed or something
really?
like that. Yeah. Well, maybe I'm misrepresenting, but that's what I seem to have read.
It's a
about it.
white label, so it wasn't in the last year. I just think it was just not a low print. Like it just didn't. It kind of
didn't sell.
blipped. It kind of just blipped away. I picked it up pretty late into my collecting, so excited to play that. Techromancer will be the video game book club pick for the dads, and Euphoria it might be a racing game. Do we know what this is? I'm so excited.
I want to say
the
it's
NES.
like some medieval something or other.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with medieval hack and slash,
Oh, okay, I could take that.
but I'm probably totally wrong.
Yeah, we'll find out. Euphoria for the NES will be our video game book club pick. All right, so moving on to some kind of current events. We will say Euphoria, not a U.S. release game.
Yeah, it's PAL in Japan.
Yeah, PAL Japan, Australia, I think, right? And it is ROMs came out on the Virtual Console. Looks good though. That's why we haven't heard of it. But we will allow it. We didn't say only in this region before, I don't think, so we will allow it. But yeah, excited to play that one. So Euphoria for the NES. Moving on, guys. Gosh, there's a few things we want to talk about. Let's get Portland kind of knocked out real quick out of the way.
right.
We're going to have another episode before the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. This is October
20th.
Yep. All the dads will be there in
I'm pumped.
Portland. Yeah,
It's going to be awesome.
yeah.
I've got a whole week there.
Yeah,
That'll be fun.
you're going there early. My wife and I were talking about that when the kiddo gets older. When we do that, we're trying to go bi-yearly. I don't know if obviously we can all go when we want to, but Shane and I kind of said we obviously can't go every year. But now we came 2 years later, and the last time we went, it's kind of symbolic because we hadn't started the podcast yet, but we started talking about it that time, and it was kind of cool because it was the last time I remember we were just thinking. Like anything, you're like, I'm going to work out and do this pound chisel. It's like, if you're over the age of 30 and you're not a professional athlete, you probably won't have a six-pack. It's like that old commercial from Peyton Manning where you think like, we wouldn't do it. And I remember Shane even on a podcast panel he went to was asked about, like, we're thinking about starting up a podcast. Do you have any tips? It was funny. The panel who said that I don't think gave the best tips or one of those like, oh, good luck or something. So it's just neat to actually kind of go back and, again, we're not going to have a booth or anything. Shout out Married Guy Gamer. We'll say whatever that booth number is when we get a chance. We'll shout out on Facebook. He's going to help us sell a little bit of merch. We're going to take a small corner of his table, which he offered.
Nice.
He offered to corner of the table to sell some shirts. So he's obviously getting a free shirt and hat. But we really appreciate that. Check out Married Guy Gamer. He's got some stuff on the old Facebook and stuff. Met him 2 years ago. And he follows the show and listens. So shout out to him. Appreciate that. And Southwest, we can, fly 2 bags for free. So pick up.
Yeah, no, there'll definitely be an empty suitcase flying with me.
Yeah. I did that last time. I put a suitcase in a suitcase and I got some good pickups. But Portland, so anything, a quick round. We won't spend too long on this. We'll talk more about it next time. What you're looking forward to most?
I don't really have a specific. Since I kind of heavily favor NES games, I'm gonna probably unload and buy a big one. Something like a Gun Knack or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'll probably buy an expensive NES game, just one. And then I kind of want to get some TurboGrafx stuff, I think, while I'm there. And then I've kind of been heavy after NES homebrews and hacks and that kind of thing. So I'll probably pick up some of those.
There'll be a lot of those that I remembered and really good ones. TurboGrafx, I don't know. It's like anything. I think everything under the sun is there. But the hacks and homebrews, a lot of cool stuff.
Anything SNK related.
Yeah.
Or Neo Geo for those not in the know or in the know.
Yeah.
'Cause there's a lot of Saturn Neo Geo stuff. It was Japan only. So if there's a booth that happens to have a lot of Saturn imports, then I'll probably be hitting that up pretty hard.
Yeah.
I think that's the main stuff that I'm really after. So as I'm getting a little longer in the tooth as far as the collecting goes, I'm getting just weirder and weirder. Looking for more niche stuff, and I've gotten more into doing or looking at imports and that kind of thing at the shows because that's the only place you see them. You don't see them in the local game shops, and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah.
So, trying to find Japan-only releases, that kind of... Like, I would love to find a Japanese Radiant Silver gun for the Saturn. If I could find one of those at a reasonable price, that might be something I pick up. Something like that.
Cool. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, kind of similar to Adam. I think I'm going to probably pick up a couple, hard-to-find NES games. There's definitely some, odds and ends that I just kind of have, written down that I know I'm going to look for. I need a Donkey Kong Country 3 box. On Super Nintendo because I have the first and the second, and I just need that third one to sit there next to him.
Yep, of course.
So because it just looks funny.
Stupid Baby Kong.
Yeah,
cool. Baby Kong's the worst.
And you're selling some stuff, getting ready for it, so that's good.
Yeah, I've been getting rid of a pretty good amount of my doubles and extra systems and broken systems on eBay recently, and it's just been working out really well. So that'll give me a lot of money to have for the con coming up, and so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to kind of get what you want, get what you'll actually play, and the other thing that is I'm really looking forward to is playing all the arcade they have, the free play arcade.
Oh yeah,
I'm hoping there's some really good pins there.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
There are. It's not as much, but again, I'm trying to think like offhand. I want to say there's at least 35.
Jeez.
And then
Yeah,
arcade games probably like 200.
I have to say, it looked huge in the pictures.
It was just, and even if they have like less this time, there's no way it's going to disappoint. Like playing Battlezone, like they had the 3 different kinds of ways.
No, I just want to play some of the games I've never played.
Yeah.
You know.
And
it's cool that they open it up on Friday too, but kind of before the con starts.
Right, yeah.
Because we're getting there kind of like midday Friday. So.
Exactly, yeah. We're going to get there midday Friday. In fact, even like when we arrive, it's going to be like a couple hours before the hotel. I'm going to try to get the hotel to listen early or hold our bags, and we could go straight there. Luckily, it's a 2.5 block walk. And then we have some friends. Zach Maynard's going to be around, and probably hang out with some friends there, which would be great. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to see some people we haven't seen in a little while. The auction will be interesting if you guys want to go to that.
I actually am really excited
I
watch
may
that.
even get something at the auction, just maybe one of those blind boxes or something, just to see. I mean, we'll see.
Can I be your bidder just because
No,
kinda
I
want
know
that
you
to-
cannot be my bidder.
Did you listen to the episode? That was the one thing I would just be a fly on the wall, because that auction was just 2 years ago. It was like,
I know, I just wanna
this?
watch.
If it doesn't get too crazy, I guess.
How about this? I want to sell something in the auction. I don't want to buy something, because that
I wish I had something that was worth it.
like that Ninja Turtles thing. Just to put, like, if I would have sold that at the auction instead of where I did, what I sold it for probably 3 times or something. Because it's a weird thing of, it's like, and I wasn't expecting this in Portland. I could freely say it was like a, hey, who's got more deeper pockets was going on, and I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting pretty like, what do I say, conservative bidding. Mm-hmm. There was no conservative bidding going on.
Oh,
there.
really?
No, it was. If you look back to the episode, there's a Star Fox like.
I thought some of the boxes with prototypes and stuff in them, though, or some of the blind boxes went pretty cheap, or no?
No, they didn't. That was the problem.
Well, never mind then. Maybe I may not be partaking.
Yeah, the first blind. If you're going to buy a blind box, pro tip from Shane. Buy the first blind box, because then they only go up, and that's what happened.
Well, that's the thing. They want you to see all the cool stuff that's in the first one.
Well, they were blind, I guess. So even picking what order, you got to pick the order. And what sucked was the last one was the worst one that I bid on versus a guy. And the guy did, if you've already listened to this, sorry, it's been a few episodes. He bid above me by a lot in order. It's just like in a movie where it's like 300, 400, 500. A guy in the back, 2,000.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he did. It wasn't that crazy, but he basically overbid the $10 bid by like 100. And I was
Gotcha.
like, I would have stopped at the next one, buddy, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then he opened the thing up, and it was the prototypes inside. I don't even think there was one. It was like coupons to a Sizzler or something like that. It wasn't that bad, but it was. So anyway, but
I love Sizzler.
entertaining nonetheless. It'll be really a whole lot of fun. Anyway, I'm just super excited about it. If anybody's out there, if there's going to be anybody, listeners, please come up to us, say hi. We're going to be wearing our hats and our shirts or something like that. And we're just going to be walking around, seeing what is it called? Like, when we go and listen to people at a
Panels?
panel. Yes. Yeah. Panels was something I didn't do last time. Because it's just, I don't know. I guess people go for different reasons.
I'll probably do some panels, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I might do 1 or 2. I'm not a big panel guy also.
Yeah. I went to probably 3 of them. And I think panels are cool. The one I liked the most was like the one that was very leastly attended. There's a few that weren't. And that was the limited run game in Kelsey one, which I liked because the audience was like only 50. But when they were like loaded up, then it was kind of like, I can't really see anything.
Yeah.
And then you get the random comments like, what's your favorite video game? I was like, come on, ask them like what their underwear color is or something, at least a little interesting.
I'm going to have to look at the guest list too.
Yeah.
Just kind of see who's all coming.
Yeah. But that'll be a lot of fun. So if you're in the Portland area, check that one out. Awesome. All right, something else. The Mini Neo Geo. Yeah. Yeah, if anybody knows, Adam's pretty big about that. Well, we won't spend too much time on these topics. We'll kind of try to run through them. But give us the nutshell of what's going on so you can tell our listeners.
Sure. So there's the Geo Mini, which is a little emulation device. Essentially, it's a tiny little arcade. It released in Japan, I don't know, like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
There are two versions. There's an Asia version. There's an international version. So the international version's us and everybody else. The other one's Japan.
Nice.
So it's got 40 games on it, 40 Neo Geo arcade games. It is emulation, but they look like they're emulated pretty good. And it's a little 3.5-inch screen on this little tiny arcade. It looks like a little awkward to play on.
Yeah.
But that's not really why you get it. It's a mini system that has its own screen. So imagine like a mini Nintendo, mini Super Nintendo, like classic that has its own screen.
Yeah.
So that's basically what this thing is. But it also still has an HDMI output and it still has 2 controller ports.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Okay. And when you consider how expensive Neo Geo games are, it has like $1 billion worth of software on it. That's not really true. You can get all these games on the Switch, for the most part and that sort of thing, but they're still like $7 a pop.
Yeah.
Whatever. And there's 40 on there. And it's a lot of the really good stuff. I mean, it's King of Fighters. It's, some of the
Metal
shooters
Slugs.
are on there. Yeah, your Metal Slugs. There's 2 or 3 of those on there. I don't have the game list in front of me, but it's pretty solid stuff. And it supposedly runs pretty good out the HDMI.
Neo Turf Masters?
I
I think that was missing. That's why
yeah,
I brought it up.
I think it is. Yeah.
You were talking about the plug.
Yeah. So it plugs in. You can plug in regular controllers, and the controllers are basically the same design as the Neo Geo CD. And
Okay.
just as a little caveat, the Neo Geo CD controller is like my favorite controller.
Okay.
I love that controller. This controller supposedly isn't quite as good at build quality, but it's also only $25.
That's what I was going to say how much it was. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's 25.
So the system's 109. So 110 plus $50. So you're talking about $160. Basically
for
the
one controller, though? Or that's
no,
two?
that's for 2 controllers
Okay.
and the system.
Yeah.
And with the 40 games on it. Plus, it's cool because it's a little tiny Neo Geo cabinet.
Yeah.
So I have pre-ordered the international version and the Asian version.
Oh, okay.
So I've got one of the next batch of the Asian versions coming, and the Asian version's really fighter heavy. And the international version's more like it's got fighters on it, but it's a little bit skewed towards shooters and Metal Slugs and those kind of games.
Okay.
So and there is some overlap between the two, but I kind of wanted to have both.
Sure.
And they come
Well,
in,
so people know, like, the SNKs are your big thing.
oh yeah, I like that stuff. So in any respect, it's actually still available on Amazon right now. I don't know how long that'll last.
Yeah. It's not as popular, obviously, to this
No.
audience.
Well, a lot of people don't even know what Neo Geo is,
Oh.
and that sort of thing. But it looks pretty cool. I know a lot of the Neo Geo collectors are this really hardcore, like we want the pure arcade experience, and anything less than that is just garbage.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people in that community that kind of poo-poo the thing.
Yeah.
And they had bad experiences with the Neo Geo X, which was the last emulation system that Neo Geo put out.
Oh, yeah,
and
that
it wasn't as well received. But by all reports, this thing is done better than that was. So I think for the money, it's cool. The novelty of it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And being the mini systems are all the rage. You got your mini Commodore 64, you got your mini
Classic.
classics
Oh,
for
yeah.
Nintendo. You've got those crappy at games things from Sega.
And this one you said has 40 games.
Yeah, 40 games.
So 40 is good because the other ones had what? Like the
30
15 and 20 and 30 or something like that.
So I mean, it's a good solid set of games.
Yeah, and I think the extra money kind of goes toward that screen. That's the big difference too, because some people, again, when you're wanting to, like, the other one was 60, then 80, 109. There's one thing about it though, like the positive, negative. I think it's still, for someone who would want this, it's a good price. You can play it to your TV, like you said.
Yeah, that's
but
a big advantage,
It's
I
missing
think.
something, like it doesn't have a charger, right?
It
And
doesn't run on batteries. Like, it doesn't run on batteries. You have to have it plugged in.
It's not portable.
Yeah, it's not portable.
Yes, that is the thing.
So
that
there are
was-
people who are modding it to make it portable, installing batteries and so forth on it. But no, it has to be plugged into the wall, with the DC adapter.
Gotcha.
Just-
And
just
does
like a
it
little
come
arcade.
with an HDMI cable?
I don't know if it's included in the box or not.
I think it's
honestly.
not either. I thought that was another weird thing. Like, they didn't have the cable put in there.
Yeah.
Because when we did an unboxing, it was kind of like, it's a good piece of hardware, but it's like missing this, and you have to plug it into a wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got like 4 zillion HDMI cables. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have a ton too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. For most people that would buy it, that's probably not a big deal. But like I said, if you don't know Neo Geo, you kind of want to get to know it a little bit. Get into it.
Yeah. Doesn't take up much real estate.
Yeah, it's a tiny little thing. $150. Really, just 100 if you want to have the device.
Yeah, that
to kind of get your feet wet on it. It's not bad. And it's cheaper than getting all the virtual
Sure.
I guess I shouldn't say virtual console, but like Switch downloads or PS4 downloads or Steam downloads. It'll be more expensive.
Yeah, cool. So you can find it on Amazon. Awesome. All right. The next thing that came out that was kind of a bit of news that I was like stoked for. I really love. Everybody's got beat 'em ups, really popular. Streets of Rage 2 is my favorite. It is a lot of people's favorite.
It is a super awesome game.
Streets of Rage series is amazing. And when you see like just retrospectives, you go back and play it. Talk about holding up.
I play it at least once a year.
Yep.
And have for however many years now.
Yeah, and the whole trilogy is great, even the first one, and how there's like branching paths and you make decisions at the end that kind of change things. And then the second one, I always played as Max for whatever reason, the big guy.
I played as Max exclusively when I was younger.
And not many people to Axel, Blaze, she's good looking. But the reason why we're talking about this is Streets of Rage 4 was announced, and a very small trailer was released. Did you guys see this trailer?
I did.
I did not.
Oh, you didn't?
I've been pretty busy the last month.
No, that's fine. We can kind of describe it. So I saw it too. It's funny. There was a lot of like, oh my gosh, I'm excited. There was also a lot of hate on it, which was kind of interesting.
I was a little bit of a hater. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I'm hopeful that it's good. There's something about the art style. There's like this.
That's what I was getting. Is it still like 2D or?
Well, it's 2D, but it's like that anime cel shaded kind of. It's sort of like when they did the Wonder Boy redo or. There's a lot of games like this now. And the problem I have with it is it looks like a mobile game.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it other than that. Like it looks nice and all the textures look good and they look well drawn and all that kind of stuff. But like I kind of like the modern pixel art still, in games and that sort of thing. Like I've been playing Slain and I don't know, some other games.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have just kept it pixelated, if that makes sense. Kept it low res. I mean, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. I'm still hopeful that it's really good, but I was actually a little bit bummed out that it doesn't look more like the old one.
Maybe they'll have like a different mode or something where you can like change it.
Maybe, and that's what they did with Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy, you can switch between old and new on the fly. But I doubt that they do that.
Yeah.
And it's probably just me being a gripey old man.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that it's really good. I mean, and I can overcome the graphics issues, but that's basically all you have to go off for judging it right now.
Yeah, I'm actually like super stoked about it. I get it, right? It's cel shaded, it's different, but it's 2018. The trailer comes out. I think Axel looks really cool. He's got a beard. He looks like kind of an older Axel. They still have these where all the features are a little bit enhanced on everything, including Blaze. A lot of people were bummed at the beginning. There was a lot of reaction stuff to the teaser trailer, and there wasn't very much, and they just showed a little bit of the fighting.
It shows almost zero gameplay. I mean, it's like 5 seconds of gameplay, so you can't really make any judgments on it.
Yeah, and so what I've kind of also found out, and I listened to the Giant Bomb cast, who Jeff Gerstmann, he's been around forever. He actually went and got to see some things behind closed doors, and he talked about his impressions about this, which also kind of encouraged me. They know they did a soft release, right? A big thing too is the music. The music was done by someone very specific that did all 3 games. This wasn't the choice for the music in the trailer. A lot of people are dissected the heck out of the trailer, and I think the trailer again was just meant to get people like, oh my gosh, Streets of Rage 4. If you dissect it, there's a reason why they did. Yeah, like there's 2 characters in the beginning. It's like, oh, where are the rest of them? Maybe they're going to get released, and this is kind of what Jeff Gerstmann was kind of saying from everything. They know they're kind of saving things. Even when he was asking them questions, it was kind of the responses he got was still no spoilers on it, but kind of like a we understand what's important to fans type thing. And he actually got to play it, and something that was encouraging was he said this feels good.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
And,
that's what I'm
and
really
Jeff
hoping for.
Gerstmann, for those that don't know, is a huge critic of games. Like when he hates a game or something's quite right, he lays into it. And I feel he can do that. He's been to every E3 known to man, right? He's a video game journalist, owns a very popular website, and he even on the thing, like, you know, as much as he could say, I was like, okay, good. I feel a little bit better. Because yes, if it was just like a, I can't think of it, like another cell shaded like 2D like
That's
thing
what I'm saying.
that came out,
It
if
just
was
looks a lot like a lot of
yeah.
iPad games.
But I think there's more than meets the eye on this. So I'm excited about that, especially knowing there's going to be more characters. There's going to be more. Without knowing this, I think there's going to be more to be had. I just hope it's a physical release. And even if it's not ideal, like, I'm just happy they're doing it. I liked Double Dragon Neon. Not everybody did. Some people had the same knocks on that. Like, it felt like a mobile this and that. And I played it, and the more I played it, it was one of those, as you play through it, you kind of unlock more. I love the 80s theme.
Yeah, and I'll be really clear on this. I'm going to buy it. I mean, regardless of what it is, it will end up in my collection.
Yeah,
but I'm just hoping that it's really good.
But just Streets of Rage 4 is out. I'm just really excited about that. For as much
And
as
I'll
played
also
the
buy the
others.
soundtrack on vinyl.
Yep.
Yeah, that's already been bought. Just release it.
Yeah. All right. So also, real quick, just another game that was something I played a long time ago that I really liked, Spyro. The Reignited trilogy has been delayed. It is now coming out. It should have been out by now. I think it was.
I actually don't mind it when they delay games.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority.
No.
I'd rather them delay a game, release it right, not have to do 14 updates on it after it's out.
Right. So do you guys know why it was delayed? I can fill you in.
Nope. I have no
I'm
idea.
assuming it might have something to do with copyright issues or music licensing or something like that. Sometimes it's those kinds of things. But
It was actually, there was a big release that came out that said, I thought I knew you knew this because you commented on it on Facebook.
or maybe I did and I've forgotten. I have slept.
They were only going to release one of the games on the disc.
Oh yeah. There was just going to be one. The first game was going to be on the physical copy, and the others were download.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And they released that before, and then it's so funny. It's like, that's why Twitter's so great.
I was
Everybody-
actually kind of steamed a little bit when I read that, to be honest.
Yeah. And everybody speculates on reasons, and it's kind of funny because all you have to do is go on Twitter, and then the actual company says why they do things. And the thing they said was, we were changing it, and we got to the point where we went gold or whatever. And in order to meet the release date, we're just going to have to put the other two online for download or whatever. But a lot of people still don't download. And the whole idea of you want the disc, you want it to work all the time, you want it to work in 20 years, yada, yada, which I totally get.
Or if you don't like the game, you can get rid of it.
Yeah, you can sell it.
You can resell it if you don't like the game or something.
Yeah, exactly. But they did write on it, so that is why they have delayed it, and people wondered why. And then again, Twitter they kind of said
so it is going to have all three games on the physical thing
because they delayed it. Yes,
Awesome. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine with
Sorry,
that.
it was a
That's
slow
the right-
roll for me explaining all
Yeah.
that, but that's what I was getting at. Was they originally didn't, now they're doing it right, which is making me even happier. Even me, who was fanboying the heck out of this, was disappointed by that. But now that they're doing it right, and when it comes out in November 27th.
No, but if you do it right, take all the time you need.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited by that. That's coming out November 27th. The other thing, I bought a PS4 Pro to match Adam. Do you have a Pro?
I do not.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have a 4K TV.
I don't either.
I
That's
said I
why
was going to
don't.
do it. I ended up getting one of those 500 million sold. It's so funny because everybody's like, "There's 500 million. It's not rare." Sony.
It's like, stop and think about that for a second. So
Yeah.
that's like 1.75 PS4 Pros for every citizen of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. So exactly. So what they meant was out of all the PlayStation systems sold, they've sold 500 million, and that was the commemoration going back to the old PS1. That's
crazy.
That they've sold. And what really helped was the fact they sold like 110 million of just PS2 or something like that, 180 million or something, 200. I don't know. They sold a ton of those. They made it's kind of translucent blue. It was very limited.
looks
now
cool.
I already forgot how
I
many they
actually
made.
stayed up late trying to get it.
I
and
did
then,
too.
And then gave up on it because I was like, when is it going to release? When's it
Yeah.
going? Okay, I'm going to bed.
I would have
Yeah.
sold mine and taken that, but I just didn't.
I will,
afford it.
for what they're going for, I'd have been really tempted to. I don't ever resell anything, but being that they're going for like $1,000 now.
Yeah. I can't do it because I love it. I unboxed it on the Facebook. I ended up getting one. I got pretty lucky.
What's your number? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was.
They're all numbered like 1 through 50,000.
Yes, 1 through 50,000, but U.S. got released second.
Yeah.
Compared to international, so all the U.S. numbers are past 25,000.
Right.
So I think what they did was they did 25K here in the U.S. and another 25K throughout the world, ish. Because all the ones that I've ever seen, sorry, I'm like 33615.
You didn't get like a nice round like 30K or something. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be great. No, it was. And what's cool is actually, you know how the whole like you can unbox something, keep it sealed. There was no tape on it, so like you
really?
could open the whole thing
Sure.
and be very careful and put it back and check what the number is and put it back and say it's sealed because there's no tape on it. The case is really cool. The way it was all like presented in there was very like premium. I felt like I was buying a premium product. It was an extra $100 over the normal Pro price, but you did get a double hard drive, so a 2 terabyte hard drive.
That's cool.
Which getting one of those by itself is like $70.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And of course, it came with the controller, but that's normal. But also came with a camera and a stand.
Oh, really? Camera?
Yeah, it came with the
need
camera
one now.
and the version 2 camera, not the version 1, which I only had the version 1. So I have a launch PS4 and PSVR, a launch PS4, PSVR, and the camera. Something I was pleasantly surprised by the Pro was I've been playing my VR a lot, the PSVR. It is so much better on the Pro.
It is good on the Pro. Yeah.
It's one of those things, ignorance is bliss. When people ask, I'm always like, it's fine. I love the PSVR. When I played it on the Pro, and the first thing I played was Rec Room, which is a free-to-play game, not something like awesome that you would think would look great. I was like, holy cow. It looks, the difference looks like the hardware was changed. It's that good.
Right.
So yeah, just like going from 480 to 7 or 7 to, it's basically going from standard def to high def. I was really surprised at how good it ran.
Okay.
So that's nice. I still don't have a 4K TV like you guys, right? Eventually I will.
I don't have one in my game room. I just have one in my family room.
But you got one at least.
Yeah.
I did look at them, and boy, those are nice.
They're
are
really nice. Yeah.
So I was looking to see like, okay, if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get one this year. I probably will. What will I end up getting? I'm going to have to retire that DLP I wanted to last 5 years.
It's the best, but I have an LG. It's pretty good. Too.
I was going to say, so the real 2 is the Samsung has the Q LED, and then versus the OLEDs.
Yep.
And the OLEDs, I'm like, okay, I get it. When a black level is basically turning off the screen and then seeing the difference in person, I'm like, all right, if I'm going to go 4K, I wouldn't go LCD. The OLEDs are awesome. It's just a matter of finding them for a good deal. You could get a 4K TV now for great deals, but the OLEDs are like crazy pants. So, and one of those games to play, Spider-Man, huh? Who's playing that?
I don't know. I'm gonna get it soon.
Not yet. I'll get it eventually.
I've seen some gameplay and it looks awesome.
Yeah. That's a quick that game.
After this move is over, perhaps.
Yeah. That game released. Modern stuff we don't talk about a lot, but this one is getting a lot of great buzz.
It looks like something I'm really gonna like.
Yeah. The swinging looks a lot of fun. I did play the old PS2 one.
Tons of detail.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of like it's not exactly the same thing, or not really the same thing at all, but like the Batman games,
Well, yeah.
all your Arkham Cities, Arkham Asylums,
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Love that stuff.
I saw a cool video where even like the voice audio, they like recorded it twice. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I
So
did.
like when you're like
Talk about
swinging
it.
around, they like recorded it so he's kind of like out of breath when he's talking. But he'll say the exact same thing when he's just like kind of standing there on the ground. I mean, they made like everything like very adaptive, and you're like really immersed in your environment.
Yeah. I saw that Kotaku did it. That they said the attention to detail is great. Yeah, the fact that they didn't make the standing dialogue the same as the swinging dialogue. The budget for that game.
I don't know. Every time like a new fancy game comes out or whatever, like all the fanboys, trolls, whatever you want to say, online always kind of throw me a little bit for a loop because right before they released it, there were all these people online fighting about like the early showings of Spider-Man and how there was this reflective water on the ground and now it's not there, and so they've scaled the game back and now it's a piece of garbage, and all. I mean, it's like, what is wrong with you people?
There's always something to complain
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. I mean, and it's just me wearing my old man pants. But I mean, when you grow up with the 2600 and then you're playing, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, an Uncharted 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I see that stuff, and the only thing I can think of when I'm playing like a lot of modern games is like, how is this even possible? Like,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
are the blades of grass moving independently of each other?
Yeah.
And there's like millions of them.
Yeah.
You know, like how are they doing that?
Or like the AI simulation, like how's it perfect now?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know, modern games. I mean, I really still like the retro stuff, but I mean, I shouldn't say every time I play a modern game, but a lot of modern games, I sit there and like half of my game experience is just being like, how did they do that? Like, how did
Yeah.
they pull that off? That is like super impressive.
Yeah.
You know, and it's looking at like the reflections on tile in the bathroom of a hotel or something when you're running through shooting somebody. I mean, like, I'm not even looking at the game. I'm just looking at like, oh, how did they pull off those little effects? Look at the shadows over there.
I got a feeling that new Red Dead Redemption, the first one, I can remember being on the horse and just kind of like looking off into the distance and just like looking into the canyon and being like, wow, this is like a really
and
beautiful, like,
Yeah.
things
It's
move
how
the way
can
that
this
they
how can this
should.
get better?
Yeah.
And we
Exactly.
say that every 10
Yeah,
years.
I know. But well, and the thing that always strikes me about the Uncharted series is like, depending on how far you've ran and whether or not you've been shot and how uneven the ground is and all that, like the
Yeah, he
characters,
struggles.
or Horizon Zero Dawn is like this too, but like they change the way they walk depending on the slope of the hill that they're on or what they've
exactly.
been doing before that. And it's like, how many animations for walking are preloaded in the background and then selected depending on the environment, like on the fly? Like, how did they even do that? Like, how's that possible?
Yeah.
But it is like all these things, and you know, I get online or on message forums or whatever, and people are like, "Oh, there's not as many reflections in the water," and I'm like, "Shut up! Like, just learn to enjoy something
I
for
know. I was
crying
like,
out
get
loud."
off those message forums.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
guess you know. Well, I mean, it wasn't just that. I mean, it was like a top story on IGN. You know,
Yeah.
people notice some of the reflections. They're going, big whoop de freaking do.
Yeah.
You know, find something to enjoy.
It's good you point that out because there was an article on Kotaku too that talked about this. I don't know if you saw this. Someone was complaining, and he's like a senior editor, that Spider-Man. It's like Spider-Man game is great, but what it ruins is you feel like a cop. I don't know if you saw this, and people are laying into this article because it was clearly someone who hadn't played the whole game. They played the first 3 hours, and they were trying to add in like some propaganda about like, oh, you're just helping out the NYPD. You feel like this isn't Spider-Man, he's just a cop, and you know, I'm not trying to say that. Yeah. Anyway, it was just a real poorly written article complaining because that was kind of a screen grab thing in order to kind of get clickbaits, and
Sure.
it just felt like it was, it's that whole that old comedy sketch of like everything is awesome, but everybody's complaining about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not just Spider-Man. It's a whole lot of games and that sort. And I can't say whether it's good or not because I haven't played it, honestly. But you know, from the looks of the thing and that sort of thing, I'm kind of amped up to play it. And I don't, like I said, it just surprises me when, you know, these games come out that are these really solid, good-looking games and that sort of thing, and then people are bummed about the reflections in the
Yeah.
water.
And you
Not
could-
even a gameplay-related thing. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And you could be bummed about and that's just saying what we're saying too, and I think you mean too. You could not like a game because it's not your thing, right? There's so many popular.
Oh yeah, there are a
types
ton of
games.
popular games that I
Yeah.
don't play because they're not my thing, but I can see why people would like them.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect example would be like The Witcher.
The Tales game.
You know?
Witcher, sure.
Yeah, like Witcher 3. You know, everybody loves it. And I can see why. Another one's Fallout 3, Fallout 4.
Yeah, I'm the
not
same
my
way.
cup of tea.
Me
Those are
neither.
not my kind of games. I totally can see how people can like them, and I can
Yeah.
appreciate them from a distance because I understand why people like them and what goes into a game like that. But I don't have to hate on it. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because it's not my deal.
Well, this is a good segue. Let's talk about something that's coming out now. That is a great thing to say. You know how we always say, "Oh, back in my day, it was better," and that's coming out, and people are getting excited about this. Of course, there's still some hate there. We'll talk about that briefly. Arcade 1UP. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah.
Arcade 1UP is a company that is coming out with affordable, smaller scale, right, 2/3 scale or whatever, 60% of the size, arcades. That are you can put them together like IKEA furniture. Okay, they have the screen built in. They have the old side art.
So they're not like tabletops. They're like technically standing.
They're technically a standing cabinet.
Officially licensed.
Yeah, they're more sit down. So you need to kind of sit in a stool,
Gotcha.
or you can put them on a riser. They are officially licensed. They vary from having 3 to 4 games outside of one model that's kind of a deluxe model that has like 12 games on there. And there's one that has Rampage and 3 or 4 other games. They're all kind of Atari based, right? They're all kind of school.
That's cool.
But the art is all there. They are the pre-orders have already kind of all sold out. They're sold in places like Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart,
Best Buy,
Fry's.
Fry's.
So they're getting some distribution.
Yeah. And they're
GameStop.
GameStop as well.
Yeah.
They originally, the MSRP was $3.99, and this happened perfectly, and it's rare this ever happens. Walmart, and I found out, I did some digging on how this worked. The MSRP was $3.99. Walmart sold them, was first to have the pre-order up and just undercut everybody at $2.99, and then everybody else did that too to match Walmart.
Gotcha.
Walmart sold out quickly, including me. When I saw that those came up and it was like $2.99 when everybody else was going to be $3.99, I went and pre-ordered the Rampage cabinet.
Nice.
I got that because I figured it'd be great to have. So I got the Rampage one. I got that because I got the autograph of the marquee, and I loved Rampage. And out of all the older games, I almost got the Street Fighter one. So there's like 5 different ones. The only one that didn't come out, 5 different cabinets, right?
Yeah, they announced 5 different versions, but it's the one with Final Fight that never came up for pre-order.
Yeah.
Which is the one that I want.
I know.
I think it's the one everybody else wants to.
Good news for you, but it's coming out April next year.
April next year.
Yes.
When do these come out?
These are coming out soon, in about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks?
So I have 2 of them pre-ordered.
Cool. Which ones?
I got the Street Fighter, which has
yeah.
it has Street Fighter 2, the original Championship Edition, and Turbo.
That's awesome.
All on the same cabinet. And it's cool because it has it's like the original Street Fighter side art, front art. It has like the overlay around
Yeah,
the
that's
screen
cool.
and
It's
the
stuff.
coolest
yeah.
looking cabinet.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's got the 6-button controls. And I mean, the neat thing about these cabinets are that the controls on the cabinets are actually set up like. There may be 4 games on the cabinet, but they're all 4 games on it used a trackball, for instance, on one of them, and
So they have the same layout.
The
for every
controls,
game.
are basically specific for the games that are on that particular machine. So,
That's cool.
so the one with asteroids has the correct layout for asteroids. The one with Rampage has the correct layout for Rampage, and the other games use the same layout on it. So I got that, and then I got the sort of the deluxe version 12-in-1, that has a lot of the different games on it. And that one was available through Fry's first briefly, and then sold out. And then they put it on Best Buy. And I think it may actually still be on Best Buy. Maybe it's sold out by now. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that one, it was $100 more, but it comes with the riser. And all the extra games, so I had to go back and buy a riser for the first one that I bought, so that they'll match.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to have both of them together. I mean, they look really cool. I think they're going to go good in the new room.
Yeah, and it's just, if you're a guy, this seems like something that you could kind of get away with. You don't have to have big game rooms, and we have big game rooms. I still wanted one of these too because I asked on Twitter, this is a great one to have the kids play, and for whatever reason, I feel it's something where they're durable enough, right? They're also travelable. So how I was saying how we're gonna have a game night, guys. I realized 4 days before that game night, mine comes in the mail. It's supposed to arrive. Let's hope it doesn't get delayed. Let's hope.
Yeah, I think one of mine is the end of September, and the other one's October 15th or something.
Oh, that
like
must
that,
be
if
the
I'm
Best
not
Buy
mistaken,
one. Yeah, end of September is when the main ones are coming out. Also, there's a new one, just so you guys know, Pac-Man has been announced as a Walmart exclusive.
I'm getting Pac-Man one for sure.
It only has 2 games on there, Pac-Man and Mrs. Pac-Man.
My wife is going to kill for Mrs. Pac-Man.
awesome.
That is one
Good.
game that she really likes. Yeah,
Good.
so we're definitely getting that one.
Good. So that's a Walmart exclusive. And they're getting really good reviews. Again, it's a kind of emulation, it's proprietary for people that would want to know it's going to be hard to turn this into an emulation machine because there's always been some videos out there that show how the board works. It's a proprietary board. Everything's made by Arcade 1-Up. It's not like you can plug a Raspberry Pi into this thing. They kind of know, they kind of want to, with the licensing and everything. I think the price, we could talk about this. I really think the price is right with this. $300 is very accessible.
Yeah.
I think this is a fun thing that you can have, especially if you don't have much room. And
And I think it's something that if you get tired of it, you're going to be able to sell for
Yeah.
roughly what you paid for it too. So.
Yeah. And the fun how you put it together like a little furniture thing. I've already seen some videos of people putting it. It's a fun thing. I think.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo Labo, the arcade edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I'll talk real quick. There are some people that are kind of knocking this for the obvious reasons. Oh, it's too small. Get the riser, okay? And also, you don't have to buy it. You can buy an old ass arcade machine for 5 times the amount if you like that plays one game. This falls under the same thing. If you don't like it, don't buy the dang thing. I think it's a wonderful thing to have. We didn't have anything like this on the market. And there's going to be more titles coming out in the future. People are, of course, really wanting, Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and like X-Men. But realistically, I think the one kind of pipe dream realistic one that I would love to have come out is the Mortal Kombat one.
Yes. Yeah.
There's been some hints that that's a
1, 2, and
possibility.
3. Yeah. If they could do 1, 2, and 3 Ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
And so far, what they've shown is they kind of showed a mock-up one, and I want to say did not have 1, and it had like 2, 3, and 4 or something, or 2 and like 3 and 3 Ultimate or something like that, or maybe 1, 2, and maybe it was 1, 2 and Ultimate 3. That was probably what it was, but this actual art was of the second one, just so you guys know. These are just rare mock-ups. Who knows? There's a guy on YouTube. I think his name is Cool Guy, Cool Toy, or something like that. It's doing a lot of videos on there. They're really good, and he's very up to date on all the news. Sorry, I don't have his. But anyway, you check on YouTube for Arcade 1-Up. That's probably where you'll see some of these things. They gave some giveaways, some morning show or something like that. Can you imagine if you're in the audience and you got one? That would have been awesome.
It's probably Ellen show, or it's like Oprah.
Yeah.
You get one. You get one. You get one. You get one.
Check under your seat.
But anyway, check these things out, or ask this is one of those, if you're like us, if your significant other has trouble getting you a Christmas gift or whatever, if your budget's that
Tiny arcade
allows.
machine. Come on.
It's a fun thing to get the kiddos into, right? Especially as these things die off and they get hard to repair and stuff. Like, I see myself out of everything. I'd keep that one because that's the easy one, and they weigh 60 pounds.
Oh, that's not bad.
Or something like that. So they're easy portable.
Yeah, easier to get in your basement.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the old arcade 1-Up. And we already talked about Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Guys, I think why don't we move on to our the
Handheld
That was good. That sounded like a weird kind of echo thing.
Yeah, no,
And
we were in tune.
yeah, it made my ears jiggle or whatever. So our handheld holla is that was nice. You guys did
You
that.
owe me a Coke.
Yeah, in stereo.
Yeah.
Our handheld holla is kind of like our video game book club, except for the fact that it doesn't have to be. It could be in the super popular. We all just kind of give some love to the old handhelds. Pick a handheld game of any generation for you guys to play that we have liked before in the past, and it can be popular. Obviously, like Kelsey Lewin was the only one we did on the last one. She said Super Mario Brothers to the Super Mario Land, the 6 golden coins for the original Game Boy, which we happen to not have picked yet. Great game.
It is a great game.
Yeah, and she didn't know about the color variant, which boggles my. I think also because since it's a repro and she sells maybe in a store, that's why it never crossed her path. But I almost want to find that and show it to her.
It's such a weird Mario game too. It's kind of this odd duck.
Yeah.
But it's still super cool.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is very well done. So anyway, our handheld holla, we would love to give our love to the handhelds. Why don't we go round robin? Michael, what's your handheld holla? Your shout out for the people at home to play.
My pick is for the 3DS. It's the new Super Mario Brothers 2. I know it's a pretty popular game, but life has been a little bit stressful for me lately.
Yeah.
And this game in particular is extremely easy and extremely fun to play. It's just gathering tons of coins. You'll die every now and then, but it's just your classic Mario platformer. Always fun. Bosses aren't too difficult. But I played through the whole entire game in like a week, and I just really enjoyed it.
Was perfect, huh?
Yeah.
The portable stuff is good for having younger kids around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is.
And you said that was new Super Mario
2.
2?
Yeah. Yep.
For the 3DS.
Yep, for the 3DS.
Yeah, so pick that one up. Do you know pricey-ish?
It's actually gone down quite a bit. I think it's only like $10 to $15 now.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, those 3DS games are starting to kind of drop.
Yeah, it's a
good-
great time to buy 3DS kind of DS.
Yeah, DS is
awesome
great.
to
In a
buy
couple
right
of
now.
years, 3DS will be pretty low.
Okay. Adam, what do you got for us?
I'm going to go with Gargoyle's Quest for the Game Boy, for the OG.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Gargoyle's Quest is a spin-off of Ghosts and Goblins. So it stars Firebrand, which is like the little flying demon guy.
Yeah.
And he's the protagonist. And it's actually a trilogy, and it's a weird trilogy because it starts on the Game Boy and then moves to the NES with Gargoyle's Quest 2, and then to the Super Nintendo is Demon's Crest. So the third one you think it would just be 3, but it's not. It's Demon's Crest.
Yeah.
So in any respect, it's a really good, solid platformer. Done by Capcom. It's just a solid, real good Game Boy game. Uses some interesting mechanics, and you kind of have this little fly hover sort of thing, and it's just a good game. Just a good platformer game.
Yeah. Yeah. Price-wise, did you already say? Sorry.
Runs around $20.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
not bad. All right. Good. Gargoyle's Quest for the Game Boy. My pick is going to be a game hopefully not many people have heard of, so you can kind of try to find it. I didn't find about it till late as I was collecting for the PSP, a game called Hammerin' Hero, and Hammerin' with the IN apostrophe. This is an Atlas game, and it is kind of like a... I
haven't heard of this game.
Yeah, it's the art style is really cool. You're basically like you're about the size of Mario, and you have this huge hammer, and you just kind of go through stages and just annihilate people. You've got
Nice.
a lot of like different attacks. There's a lot of different characters to unlock. A lot of different kind of power-ups and pickups. It's really just I was looking at the back of the box now just to kind of help, but it's like a raving fight against a gang of corrupted promoters. Did I talk about? Yeah, I did talk about the other one. And Gensen hammer-based baseball bat or giant tooth. Yes, that's right. So that was the big thing that was fun. Like you can hit people with the craziest crap. It's just a lot of fun. A simple game, pick up and play. Feels like an arcade game.
It's like Grand Theft Auto the early years.
Yeah, but it's called Hammerin' Hero, and it's a buried treasure, hidden gem, whatever you want to call it, for the PSP.
Nice. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it used to, when I picked it up, it went for about 20, and I think now it's getting up 30, 35, but I think you could still kind of find it for 20 if you kind of hunt around, because PSP, not everybody's looking for it.
Nobody collects PSP except me and Benjamin.
Yeah. I'm excited. I love picking up cheap PSP. I do it at every con, so I'm going to continue to do that. But yeah, that was our handheld holla. So there's something else we're going to talk about. Not many people I know. We'll touch on this a little bit. Adam, you know more about this than Michael and I know heard about a little bit. Tell me about this Polymega.
So there's this thing called the Polymega, and it's a retro console that's purported to be the most,
Okay.
or the console that supports the widest variety of inputs with regard to like systems.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this thing supports PlayStation 1, Saturn, which is the newest one released, or the newest
Saturn.
one announced.
Yeah, Saturn
So-
is quite the hook.
So it'll play PlayStation 1 games, Saturn games, Neo Geo CD games, Sega CD games,
Yeah.
TurboGrafx CD, PC Engine CD,
So all disc-based games.
up to
Yeah.
the 32-bit generation.
Gotcha.
So basically everything CD up to the 32-bit generation. It doesn't have like Amiga and stuff like that, but
I was going to be the guy that asked, does it play Amiga?
yeah. So sorry, Europe.
Jaguar.
I don't think it has Jaguar.
Yeah, you're right,
CD.
it doesn't. It
Yeah,
doesn't. Jaguar.
yeah. Yeah. There you go, going off in the weeds.
Polymega.
Yeah, so it supports all those,
Fail.
and then so that's in like the base system. So there's this base system that you buy that has a CD tray in it, and it plays those games.
Yep.
But then it has these modules, these expansion modules that basically just like clip onto the top of the system. And they have one that plays like NES, Famicom. They have another one that plays SNES. They got another one for Mega Drive,
Oh, that's
Genesis. They have another one for TurboGrafx 16 PC Engine.
So not to kind of go on, like this sounds,
It's
you
a
know.
yeah, it's kind of a Frankenstein.
Yes, and it also sounds like, is this thing real or not? Tell us a little bit of how this is being distributed.
So this was announced like about a year ago, I think, is when I very first heard about it. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. And they kind of had announced that they were going to do this, and they were going to make, they were going to do like a Kickstarter, I think, and they were also sort of touting that they were going to use FPGA, which is kind of like what Analog did with the NT and Mini, and then, and then or the Retro USB ABS, that kind of thing. So one of the things they announced before they sort of announced the release of it is that it's not FPGA, meaning it's not hardware based. It's software emulation. So it works similar to what like the Retron 5 does.
Gotcha.
Okay. So it's all emulation. It's all software emulation. It will play all those games, but it's not playing the games through the hardware. It's playing the games through software emulation.
Okay.
So that's one thing to know about it. So that's not necessarily what was originally discussed, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they said basically, I think originally that it was going to be a combination of software emulation and hardware emulation, but now it's basically just software emulation.
Okay.
So they sort of made this announcement, and then they also announced that pre-orders were going to become available, and they're not doing Kickstarter. They're going to remove. They're basically funding it like you would on a Kickstarter, but they're doing it on their own with a pre-order system.
Gotcha.
So you pre-order it, and the higher the amount of money they raise, the more expandable or the more little add-ons and things they're going to do to it.
Okay, that's
kind of.
That's good, you know.
Which is kind of what you typically do with a Kickstarter type campaign.
Yeah.
So there's a baseline level of funding that has to be reached, and that's $500,000. As of right now, I checked earlier today, it was at 430. So I think they're actually going to hit it.
Sounds like it, yeah.
What's the deadline?
They still have like 25 days or something. They gave themselves a month to do it, so they're going to hit. They're going to hit it.
Because then an investor would just add that, you know.
Yeah, well,
realistically.
and a lot of people say, well, it's just fake and all this kind of thing, and there always is risk with these kinds of things. But I read into it a little bit, and there are like some legitimate investors. There has been real hardware shown. There's been real video shown. Unfortunately, when they launched the Sega Saturn has always been notoriously difficult to emulate. When they announced that they were going to support the Sega Saturn, they put a little sizzle reel, or they had a little sizzle reel going, and it showed like Sega Rally, I think, playing. Well, it turns out that footage was actually from the arcade hardware.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of a big red flag for a lot of people. Like, why are you showing us the arcade version when you're telling us that this thing supports Saturn? Ooh. They actually just today released like a 25-minute video of an array of Saturn games supposedly running on the actual system.
As long as they work it out.
So I'm not 100% a believer, but I'm also not totally throwing it in the garbage like a lot of people are online. I have pre-ordered it.
Let's talk about
personally.
Let's talk about the price.
Yeah, so the price for the base unit, and the base unit again is the one that supports all the CD-based systems.
Yeah,
it's $250.
Okay,
so $250, and that includes one controller. I went ahead and pre-ordered a second controller, and they kind of look like PS3 controllers.
So my logical dad brain is now thinking, I'm adding up in my head the cost of all those systems together, not including the HDMI, you know, obviously.
Yeah, and it does output HDMI. I did not mention that.
Yeah,
but.
so, you know, Sega CD, it's not super expensive. And then you got the, what else you said? PlayStation, not super expensive.
TurboGrafx CD is expensive.
Yes,
you're talking $400 for one of those dudes.
And the Saturn. Yeah. So really, like, if you add all those up, even kind of like just getting the systems, you know, this seems to be, at least it's not $500, which something like this, the way it's all put together. It's
expensive. I mean, it is.
I'm saying it could be more. Yeah. I wouldn't lose me. I'm not the person for it, but it's interesting enough. I'm not knocking it right now at $250. Yeah. But
are you locked into that controller that it comes with, or can you
good
use
question.
Other controllers?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know if it'll work with like 8-bit DOE controllers or whatever. Now it will. So let me,
like how the Retron has.
Let me back up. So the expansion module, so the one with the NES has NES controller inputs. It'll take any NES controller.
Sure.
The Super Nintendo input or the Super Nintendo module will take any Super Nintendo controller. The TurboGrafx is the same. Okay. So the ones that clip on actually have controller ports. Now the base unit with the CD software, I'm not sure. Gotcha. I don't know the answer to that, but I know that the system specific modules, they all support original controllers or any controller that works on the original system, supposedly. So I went ahead and pre-ordered it primarily because it's an all-in-one system, and I can have that in my house, not my game room, without having like 40 systems hooked to my TV.
Sure.
And also have it all HDMI output. So
Yeah.
for me, I think for that reason, it kind of makes sense to have one. Plus, I'm kind of a hardware junkie. I like hardware. You know, and then the compatibility. I'm going to wait to see if I actually like it before because you can go and just pre-order all of the stuff right
Attachments
now.
and
Yeah,
stuff,
all the
yeah.
attachments and everything else. I want to see how the CD system functionality works, and then see if I want to expand it from there before I invest. You know,
Sure.
500. Well, I'm using the word investment pretty loosely, but you know,
yeah.
before I spend $500 or $600 on all this expansion stuff and everything else to make it play everything. And I should have mentioned too that the Genesis module is Genesis. They're all region free, supposedly. And the Genesis module does Genesis, Mega Drive overseas stuff. It also does 32X.
That's cool.
And so, to my knowledge, there's not really anything that emulates 32X right now.
And it's like the biggest pain to set up too.
Yeah, and so, and not that the 32X ought to be some big, huge draw. It's not like it's a giant library or anything. But it looks like it's compatible with a lot of stuff. You know, if it ends up being what they say it's going to be. And then the other interesting thing, and I'm unclear on this, and I don't know that they've necessarily spelled it all out. But supposedly you can, it's software emulation. So you put your cartridge in, it dumps the ROM, and then it emulates the ROM. But I think you're supposed to have the capabilities to save the ROM into the system or into an SD card on the system and have it there on a menu where
That'd
you
be
don't
nice.
have to change your carts out. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, the more I'm even thinking about it as you're talking about it, like if I was able to just, go up on my shelf and grab the Sega CD game that I've never been able to like just plop in and play, even though I have a Sega CD, it's just the chords and everything else. Like the convenience factor as a collector, I think is interesting. Like enough that if this thing is pretty cool, even though I just said it's not for me, it might be, to be honest with you, because those things, like you said, they break.
Yeah, I'm not here to sell it or anything because I have some of my own.
You have a T-shirt on, Adam, that says Polymega. So what are you talking about?
Well, you haven't even seen the tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't want
Use
this
the
to
promo
be.
code
I don't want
Adam.
this to be like it.
One cheek
this is.
says Poly, one cheek says Mega.
Well, for our listeners, I don't want you guys to think that I'm officially endorsing this thing.
No,
I think that there are some reservations that you should have about this.
I'm
just saying for me personally, I've been able to say, well, I have reservations about it. But why not? I'll go ahead and take the risk.
Retro
and that's not
Engine
for
Sigma
everybody.
was what I was exactly
Yeah.
going to say, which is why, because I was excited about that, and that was the biggest turd ever. And I think only one listener, one or two maybe bought it based on me kind of getting excited, and I feel so bad. I ended up helping both those people, hooking them up with someone who could fix it for them and send it to my buddy, Jake, right?
Yeah.
And then sending it back, so they ended up working out, but I never want that's just it. This whole ColecoVision, everything else. I want this thing to work and be awesome. I'm sure as heck gonna wait until people say it's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, and part of it is, the biggest reason or my biggest justification is because it's what I collect. I collect a lot of hardware. I have a lot of hardware. Stuff that doesn't work, odds and ends stuff, weird stuff, and all that kind of thing. So even if it ends up being a turd, I'll still think it's cool just because I like having the hardware.
Sure.
I'm still waiting to find an Ouya at a flea market,
Ooh, yeah.
So I, any of that kind of stuff I like just because I think all that stuff has kind of a weird, interesting story about it, and this will too. So I can justify the purchase just based on it'll be just neat to have just for the story that goes along with it in the future. But again, that's an oddball thing that most people can't justify that kind of expense for. So it to each their own. But
to a collector,
but like
there's
I said,
a convenience
I would-
factor too.
there is a convenience factor, and I would like to see it get come to fruition and be everything that they've promised that it's going to be. But the biggest issue, and honestly, there weren't that many questions about it. But when they launched the pre-order site, they put out all these Twitter and everything else. Oh, we're releasing pre-orders today and all this kind of thing. And the pre-orders went up, and the site immediately went down.
Oh, really?
So the site got hit with a hack, which has happened to actually several retro game sites in the not too distant past, or several game sites. But it got hit with an attack, and all the ports to the server got slammed, and the server went down, and it was down for a day and a half. And so because their server was not great, everybody's like, oh, it's not a legitimate business. Buyer beware. They can't run a server. This is all BS. And Special Reserve Games, as an aside, had the same thing happen 3 times to them. There's just, and I don't know if it's just people in the retro gaming community. I don't know if they do this to all websites or whatever. But there's a whole lot of hate on this thing, and I don't know that it's all justified. To me, it seems like a startup company trying to do something cool. And I've chosen to kind of take the stance of it would be cool if they could do what they want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and try to help them a little bit with it. Again, I might be completely wrong, and it is risky, but why not?
Yeah. All right, the Polymega. So we will have to wait and see. All right. Moving on, I think, to our listener and email segment. How about that?
Yeah.
So just so you know, we really appreciate iTunes reviews. We get a lot of our, we love interacting with you guys, but we get a lot of good kind of pushes up the scale as far as searchability if you give us some reviews. So we always appreciate the reviews on
Especially
iTunes.
the 5-star variety.
Yeah, but if you give us a review, no matter what star you give us, we will definitely read it on the air. So that's a way to give back to us because we don't have the Patreon, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles isn't paying the bills. Just kidding. It's fine. You know, it's just whatever. It just helps us be seen. If you don't want to do it and it's troubling, don't do it either. We're fine with that too. But anyway, and you know, if you reach out to us on any other sites, I've got the Twitter stuff in front of me, so I wanted to give some shout outs here. We like hearing all this. This comes from Rye Miller at Video Game Dads. Just discovered your podcast! Exclamation point. Only a few episodes in and really enjoying it. I too am a video game dad, and you know what I like right now? I'm seeing a lot. Sorry, quick aside. Seeing a lot of people like that, you know, follows or whatever, and they put in their profile somewhere a video game dad that likes blah blah blah, and they're not trademarking it or whatever, but it's like it's getting out there, and I kind of like it. Maybe it was always out there and I didn't know, but again, we picked the name back just for searchability, and it's kind of cool that we're saying that people kind of, I'm a video game dad. Wear it as a badge. I too am a video game dad, and I divide my time between N64, PS4, and Switch. That's great. When I'm not in dad mode. Of course, we get that. I can't wait to hear more. Thanks a lot for that. This one comes from Michael James at Video Game Dads. Just listened to the first hour of your first podcast. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
That's good because I think we were pretty rough at the beginning, huh, guys? Let's be honest.
That was good.
Yeah, me.
Okay.
I kept listening. I don't know.
That's true. That's true. People kept listening. But I will say, if you go back and listen to the first 10 episodes, I will freely say our audio quality was a little... put your earphones not on high because sometimes we were a little inconsistent. We're a lot better now. We could blow out some eardrums here and there. But anyway, Michael James, I am a father of 2 girls, 8 and 6, and a Christian. So I appreciate the family-friendly theme. I also collect, but still have a long way to go. Yeah, that's a common thing. Not everybody's as crazy as us. Just collect what you like. That's what we say. Thanks. Looking forward to listening more. And then here's another thing, and I take full respect. I message everybody. I did not know there was a part on Twitter that if they're not following you or something, they message you. You have to approve it. And I didn't know this was a sub menu. So there was messages literally a year old that I'm just getting to. So that's why I'm throwing all these out there now. I did not see them on Twitter. This is like, let's see. I can't be your first Instagram follower. Surely not. Great podcast, by the way, from Russ Clonky. Chad, the gaming dad. He evidently has a kind of YouTube... hopefully he still does. This is a year old. Chad, the gaming dad, running a YouTube page for 3 years. If you guys want to do any collab, let us know. Never outgrow video games. Let me know. Yeah, so he's been doing this for now 4 years because when I messaged him, he replied back. So I guess he is still doing it. Lots of different retro games, that kind of thing. But another dad gamer. So thanks for the message. And I like the rhyming of his names. This other guy, Andrew, on Twitter was the one that won our Twitter contest that I had where you were guessing what was in the box, and it was a merch of our Video Game Dad's hats. And since he won, he got to have the hat and then a game from my collection, which he picked NES. He could pick from any system. He ended up picking NES because, of course, everybody loves NES. And I ended up sending him Blades of Steel. Blades
of Steel.
Blades of Steel. And if you like shooters, play that Easter egg after the second intermission. You can play Gradius, a little Gradius mini game, which is really cool back in the day. But he told me he had Mario games and sports games or Tecmo, so I was like, boom, Blades of Steel, and perfect. He didn't have it. But anyway, shout out to him. And then this is from Nick Rocky Castro, Nerdy Nick 91. He's got his logo is a big muscle guy. He's he'll probably like my little, if he's listening now, talk about the hammer and chisel, because he can probably annihilate me. And this one is, I love the content you guys have. You're so full of knowledge. Thank you. I love that you talk about fatherhood too. I have one complaint along all things aside, though. You guys, I love this. You guys sound like NPR hosts.
Well, maybe that's because we are.
Yeah, it's because we are. You end up losing me halfway through because there's no personality, no enthusiasm. Hope that helps. So, we've always said give us some criticism, but, yeah, probably halfway through, maybe we do. The NPR host, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't really take that too much of as knock, because I don't know. I think that's kind of cool.
Sure.
I don't know. But
Sunday.
Maybe we should embrace this.
yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, no personality, no enthusiasm. I would venture to say, if anything, maybe just a little.
I am frequently accused of having no personality. That's true.
No, but I basically, again, we try to keep the energy up, but realistically, this is right now. It's a Thursday night. It's almost 10 o'clock. I think if we were able to do this a little bit earlier in the day and we didn't have our whole stuff, we might have a little more.
No,
energy.
I know what mine is. It's not that it's 10 o'clock. It's that I was off work today and I've been beaten on by two small children for 15 hours straight before I got here.
Yeah, so we're a little worse for wear, but we try our best. And, I thought about that even going into this episode. I tried to have a little bit more personality this time, enthusiasm. Yeah, it's probably just the whole we've got toddlers and they're young kids and that kind of thing. But either way, we love your response. And anyway, you started out by saying the nice full content things, and we'll try to kind of keep the... we make these long for a reason. I think if we made these an hour show, we'd be a little bit more buttoned up. But I think part of this is the stories and the things that have come out, and probably a lot of our nuggets of stuff where we kind of go less on like tangent nerdy stuff. The stuff that I like sometimes is when we just talk about nostalgia things and like talk about real random things or things that like strike our memory. I think that's the stuff that we get from being on these doing these longer
Sometimes
shows.
we even talk about actual nuggets.
Yeah. What? Oh. What?
I don't know. You said something about talking about nuggets.
Oh, yeah. You're feeling like you're having some chicken nuggets?
Yeah, I got a little hungry.
Okay. And then this... let's see. This is from Russ Gregg. Great podcast, guys. Have recently been listening, and as I start to revisit the earlier days, okay, kind of like memory, nostalgia, was hoping the NES would be something I could do with my kids. They are 17, 13, and 9 as a dad time with them.
That's good ages. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, but the kids, he said, likely the graphics just didn't grab their attention. Enter the GameCube. That's why I forgot how fun this system is.
Dude, the GameCube is awesome.
Yeah, and the local multiplayer is great. Pac-Man versus Mario Party, Double Dash, Wario Party games, all family friendly and still hold up 15 years later.
You need to get some bongos, dude. Get the bongos.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're listening, this is now a year old now, Russ Craig. Hopefully you're still listening.
If you're still listening, get bongos.
His kids are now 18, 14, and 10. I'm really sorry I did not it just looked like a big jerk. I didn't
Everybody
message
loves the
anybody
bongos.
back. Back when we were saying, hey, no listeners got a hold of us. No, we had a bunch. I just wasn't looking in the right place. He finishes by saying, I hope more local multiplayer games come to the Switch. I think we're getting that now. At least those only requiring one Switch. Yeah, that's true. That's something to consider. That was the whole point. When the Switch came out, they were showing all those people, those young, healthy people on the rooftop playing on one Switch. The ad hoc is still something. But let's see if that was the last one. Thank you for that message. Am I done? No, EC Myers, thank you for letting us know we uploaded the same thing on YouTube. That's automatic, by the way. If you let us know if there's some inconsistencies, we have a service that when we upload, it uploads to all of the platforms all at once. And sometimes there's some quibbly, random little things. What you got, Adam?
I have an iTunes review.
Okay.
It says, this is from X Constantine.
Okay.
Love these guys and their great content, specifically the Video Game Book Club.
Cool.
My only criticism is that Adam needs to sit closer to the mic or project his voice because his volume fluctuates quite a bit. overall quality gaming podcast.
Hey, all right. Well,
Yeah, and my quality does fluctuate quite a bit.
I will say, like, you are. That's why you said earlier you're sitting close. So maybe if we have more energy and we're sitting close to the mic, we said nice constructive criticism. You know, it's just
Every time anybody brings up NPR, though, the only thing I can think of is the Sweaty Balls skit from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Alec Baldwin.
the old Alec Baldwin skit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube it. You'll be better for it.
Yeah. It's better than us trying to make it up ourselves.
Yeah.
So cool. All right, cool. Thank you for that iTunes review. Anything else? We got any emails? I think you put some up on there.
Yeah, a couple. We got one or two actually from Lee. One of which said that he came across a Sega Saturn in a Blockbuster rental case, and he was kind of just asking for some advice for how much we think it's worth.
I'll give you $50.
Yeah, well, I mean, every now and then you see these old rental cases for systems and stuff, and I mean, generally, I think they run around $100 if you find the right buyer for them, and but that's if you find the right buyer. I think they're kind of cool to have.
I think some are a little bit more desirable than others.
A Saturn one probably is one of the more desirable
I would think
ones.
so.
I would think.
I've seen like PS2 ones not go for much. And stuff.
Yeah.
I have like 6 over here.
Yeah, like the Saturn one, like Virtual Boy would be cool to have. I've only seen a handful of them in real life.
Sega CDs, I think, kind of rare.
Yeah. I actually have seen a Sega CD one. I've seen a Virtual Boy one.
I have 64 Dreamcast, and we're talking hard shell.
Those
64
clamshell looking ones. Yeah,
and PS2. I think that's it.
Nice.
So I'm just going to take a poll real quick. Maybe you guys were more ghetto than me, or maybe not as much, or maybe less so. I'm not sure. But did you guys ever rent VCRs back in the day?
Rent like the actual
Yeah,
VCR
actually
system?
rent a VCR.
No.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I'm a little bit older than you, I think.
No.
but- am I not?
82.
Okay, maybe you
was I was
were
born.
maybe you were richer than me then. I'm not sure, but we were.
I wasn't poor.
Yeah, we were dirt poor when I was a kid, and we couldn't afford a VCR. So we would actually go like on a Friday night, and you would rent the movies with the VCR.
Wow.
Like we would actually rent a VCR, and it was in the same sort of hard shell case.
This is in Kansas City or Oklahoma?
Well, this was back in Oklahoma, back when I was a kid
gotcha.
in Tulsa. But
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it was. Like we would rent, and this went on for like a year or two. Like when we wanted to watch a movie, we would rent the VCR along with the videotapes. And then we had to take them all back together in that same clamshell thing.
Wow,
so
that's crazy.
it was always a big deal, hook up the VCR and, oh man, we got movies,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And I still remember the Christmas when we actually got a VCR, and they'd been out for several years at the time. But it is a big game changer.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I got like those Memorex tapes, like the blank ones
Sure.
from Walmart or whatever.
Record
and
the
it was
TV
my
shows.
life's goal to like perfectly edit commercials out with the pause button.
Yep.
Just recording
The
random
best
stuff
parts,
on television.
The best
Yeah,
parts are gone.
But when I think of rental cases, I always think of those stinking VCRs, that you would
Yeah.
get
Yep.
in those rental cases, more so than the game systems. I remember renting the Genesis in one of those too.
I rented a Genesis once. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Lee sent us another email basically saying that sharing kind of a pickup of his, and it was a U-Force controller, which is this weird peripheral for the NES that kind of does this motion control kind of sensing thing, sort of like the Sega Activator. And he bought one complete in box, and then the person on eBay that he bought it from put the shipping sticker like on the box and just shipped it to
in the
him.
box.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
box, and so it got like all destroyed and everything
He
else.
said the
and,
box was ruined because it was raining.
yeah, it
on
was
delivery.
raining. Yeah, raining on it. And so I sent my sympathies, and I guess hopefully he got his money back.
Yeah, I would request a refund.
and that sort of thing. And I recently ordered something from Amazon. I ordered the UK version of the SNES Classic, and they shipped it to me just sticker on the box.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Did you
the
say
retail
you ordered
box.
that recently?
Well, whatever, 6 months ago.
Oh no, I was going to say because I wish you would have told me that because I'm trying to sell mine right now.
Oh,
or
are
get
you?
rid of it because
Isn't that the way it works?
Well, no,
Yeah.
I realized I have the NES Classic, the Famicom, the Super, and then I have the European one, and I realized, like, wait a sec, I want the Famicom, the Super Famicom
Yeah,
version,
yeah.
because that box is awesome. So I just bought the Super Famicom because I found a seller in Japan selling it new in box, legit complete, $59.99.
Nice.
In the box, like so, and they packs it nice.
I
And
wonder how much that shipping costs.
I have my UK.
For him, I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
But it can't be too much because when you get this stuff over from Japan, sometimes you can buy things for like cents. Like if you get like a watch holder or something, you get 10 of them for like 80 cents or something. So there must be some way they get it for cheap.
Well, that's from China. I actually learned about how they sell things for $1 from China and ship it over here. It's because the government subsidizes their export shipping.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah, it's actually pretty smart. So it like boosts their export shipping, so they don't have to like actually pay for it.
Look at that.
And that's how they're able to like buy stuff on eBay for 99 cents shipped from China.
Yeah,
'Cause it
NPR,
doesn't
eat
make
your
sense.
lunch.
Yeah, take that NPR.
Yeah. This is a dad
Well, I
podcast
questioned it. I
tip.
couldn't figure it out for a
No,
while
that's
until I
cool.
looked it up.
I love that kind of nerdy stuff. Yeah. That's real cool.
Makes sense.
We have another little email from Steve Brokowski. You want to read that one? You sent that one in our little thing. It's he has a video game store closing.
Oh, yeah. So, Steve, this is in Hudson, Wisconsin. I'm not even sure exactly where that is. And I used
I
to
don't
live
either.
next to Wisconsin. But there's a store up there called Toyrific Video Games, and they're having a store closing sale. And this is from just a few days ago. So they're doing like buy two, get two, buy one, get two, depending on what it is. So if you're anywhere near Hudson, Wisconsin, are going to be driving
deals.
Yeah, are going to be driving through Wisconsin for on a beer and cheese run.
Nice.
Yeah, stop in at Toyrific Video Games and get some cheap games.
Yeah, and he was also the one that I guess gave us the JRPG strategy, right? Was he sent another email?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Suggestion for the book club?
Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
He was the one that sent the horde.
Gotcha.
And then Billy, who's a guy that I've talked to quite a bit at the last two Missouri Game Cons, he came by and his kids competed in our GoldenEye tournament. He sent us a nice email saying, thanks for having them compete in the tournament. And his son did not win, but I gave him a free PS3 game. I just told him to like go pick a PS3 game out of my stuff, out of my wares.
That was nice.
Nice.
And so he took that home. I think he picked Infamous, if I'm not mistaken. And so I was like, Dad, are you okay with Infamous? And he said,
That was my next question.
yeah. He said, yeah. So I said, all right, it's their brains and you're the dad.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they got to take that home. So he was saying thank you for that.
Nice.
He's a real nice guy.
And the last one from Clinton Stroup. I think that's it. Yeah, I can do it. It's right in front of
go
me.
ahead.
Hello, my name is Clint. I love the podcast, and I'm a video game dad sent over by the Bithead 1000. Thank you, Bithead. With all his like listener come over, hopefully he still listens. I don't know. Is that a hat guy? I think I'm gonna have to send Mr. Bithead a hat.
I think he does hats. Yeah.
I'll send, but again,
He does hats in anger.
I don't want him to. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, he likes to dab, but I don't want him to open it on the thing. I feel like he's shilling us and he has to wear it. But just because he's sent us some listener, and we were for Video Game Dad, and he's a great guy, and we haven't talked about this in a while, but I shouldn't do it when Shane's not here because he'd confirm it meant a lot to Shane. He sent Shane that artwork.
Yeah. If you go find the Bithead video where he does the Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Like tile painting. So Shane, he sent that to Shane.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
I think is incredible.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Bithead, he does kind of like work with his hands, guy work.
Yeah, he does.
He's a tool,
he does incredible stuff.
tool
Yeah.
stuff, but like he's a very good artist too.
So,
Well, I was gonna say he's actually like he talks a lot about doing like he's construction or building and that kind of thing.
Pretty
but-
much the opposite of me.
Yeah. Well, and Shane is so proud of that thing that actually hangs outside the game room. That's the first thing you see when you go into his
Yeah.
basement before you
That's
go in
cool.
the game room or anything else. Like he's really proud of that thing.
Yeah, so we try to shout people out, but anyway, that was just such a nice gesture, and especially at the time, right? That was right after heard everything about Lexi at the time, and everybody was shell shocked. Is the best way I can put it, and of course Shane's life was turned upside down. He got that in the mail, so it was a real awesome thing to do. But anyway,
Yeah, Bithead's actually a big softie.
Yeah, he is. I have a 20-month finishing Clinton. I have a 21. Oh, and Bithead's also going for a full NES complete collection, so you can follow him on YouTube again if you haven't. We haven't shouted him out in probably 10 episodes, but he's a really interesting guy, amazing storyteller. I wish there was some way we could get him on the podcast, but he's so like.
I've tried to get him to come to some conventions.
Really?
Yeah,
You have?
yeah. I email him every now and then, but I'm like, dude, you need to go to some conventions, and he's always like, I'm too busy, got this stuff going on, and blah blah blah. But we're gonna have to get him out to one of these things.
Oh, cool.
eventually.
Yeah. He said recently though he did go to one that was close.
Yeah, he went to one kind of at spur of the moment near his house. I
Yeah.
can't remember which one it was.
He said
but-
people recognize him and stuff. So I was like, that's awesome. But anyway, yeah, check him out. He's going for a complete NES quest, which now it's really interesting. Cool stuff. But anyway, sorry, back to finishing Clint's. I have a 21-month-old named Finley. Awesome name. She's known to sit with me and play NES. She really likes The Legend of Zelda and most shooters. Thank God I did that. TLOZ, I knew what that was. Anyway, I'd recommend a game for you guys to play, Shatterhand. Was that ever recommended?
Yeah, we
so.
actually did include it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
online.
Okay. Oh, did you already say that this episode? Am I that out of it?
No.
Oh,
It's a
good.
previous episode. I think
was
we just
a
added it, but
couple
we didn't
months
read the
ago.
whole email.
Oh, okay. It might be the best action game next to Ninja Gaiden. Thanks for all you guys do, sending good energy to Shane, his daughter, and his whole family. Yeah, and that was an older message, but we didn't read the whole thing, so we wanted to shout that one out. So anyway, thanks. Reach out to us. That was a little lengthy and long because of, again, my faux pas. But we want to acknowledge that anytime you guys message us, we do our best to reach back to you. So email us suggestions, topics, whatever. Share some pickups with us. We always love that kind of stuff. But anyway, moving on. Well, guys, I think that might be an episode. We were going to have our daddy acquisitions. What did you call it again?
Paternal pickups.
Paternal pickups.
Paternal pickups.
We're going to have to leave for next episode because we're getting a little long, and we've still got our little bonus mini episodes. So stay tuned for those after this episode ends. And listen to those. Radical Reggie, Adam Koralik from the Missouri Game Con, and then that'll be at the conclusion here. We always appreciate it. You guys interacting with us, messaging us. Expect us now every 3 weeks. Again, we're going to try to do this best for you to kind of stay regular.
It's audio fiber.
Yeah, we're Video Game Dads, your audio fiber. Thanks so much. Hopefully Shane can get to feeling better. We will see you back here 3 weeks from now, 3 Mondays from now. Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate it so much. Anything else, guys? I think we're good.
No, I think it's
we're
good.
good. All right.
Have a
Thank you
great
so
day.
much, guys. Yeah, episode 35 is in the books.
All right, thanks.
Hello and welcome to another bonus episode. This is another interview. This is one we've been trying to do for quite some time. We're at the Missouri Game Con. We happen to be here with the one, the only, Adam Koralik. Koralik.
That's probably why you couldn't get me, because you couldn't find the
Dang
Koralik.
it.
That makes sense now.
Yeah, say it one more time.
Koralik.
Yeah, Koralik. Say my last name.
Ben Benifer.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no, it's okay. So, we are currently at Missouri Game Con, the third one.
Yes.
We've been to all three of them.
Yes, you and I are veterans.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know, our some of our audience, some of them don't get much of a chance to go on YouTube.
Yeah.
Go ahead, and I know you're very self-deprecating, but you have quite a big audience. Give me your paragraph of
What I do?
Yeah, what you do.
So the channel that I'm mostly here for is just my name, Adam Koralik. I do a lot of retro video game discussion. I do things like cleaning and restoring game consoles. Sometimes I talk about the news, predictions, things like that. And then I also do a lot of pickups and videos, which is very appropriate for a convention like this.
Yep.
I work on other channels as well. Game Society Pimps, Blame Society Films, Machinima.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been working on 4 channels, full-time YouTuber for the last 9 years.
Yeah, and you've been around a really long time. I remember when
Yeah,
I
I'm old.
started. Yeah, when I started, just for our audience, when I was watching YouTube videos, I remember it was like Pete Dorr.
Yeah.
It was you, and then I don't know, like fill in the other blank. I love Dreamcast. So obviously when I'm searching Dreamcast for
Yeah.
videos, you kept popping up. The man with the hands and the black felt tablecloth
I still
cover
use that tablecloth.
Slightly has this kind of ribbon imprint.
Yeah.
That's off just about every quarter of an inch. Why do we
Probably
know
the
that?
best known tablecloth on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And you live in the wonderful city of Chicago,
I
right?
do,
Like
yeah.
the heart downtown of Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, when I say live there, you don't spend much time there.
No.
Yeah, you spend like, being honest, like what, 5 months out of the year?
So I calculated this in 2016. I spent about 5 months not at home.
Okay, so it's
And
a
then,
little better than I thought.
and then 2017 was 6 months not at home.
Wow.
And then I said that in 2018 I was going for 7 months not at home, and I'm pretty sure I've lived up to that. So I get to anybody who would care. I get invited to a lot of events and conventions such as this that take me to a lot of really weird locations I would never otherwise have expected to go to.
Yeah.
I wish I could afford to go to all these places, but luckily I don't have to.
Yeah.
Which is very nice. I built up a lot of working relationships with video game companies, 2K, Ubisoft, most recently Sega.
Yeah.
So
you do this again. This is your living. This is what you do
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a living. Very few people can do this, like sustain
Yeah,
this. And so some of the good and the bad is funny. Shane's giving us a little look. It's fine. You can always ask us. I sold that. I sold the
Congratulations.
the big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing.
nice.
The
You guys
display.
can't see it, but there's this big Ninja Turtles thing.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
I'll talk about it on the thing. I'll probably talk about it on a previous podcast, which now we're talking about it now, which messes everything up. Back to you, Adam.
Yes, that's me. Hi, how you
So
doing?
you are a big YouTuber. You
I
happen
wouldn't
to
say that. You say that, but thank you.
Well, yeah, a big YouTuber in the scope of retro gaming.
Sure.
You just passed a milestone with your subscription.
100,000, yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. I remember I gave you an early congrats like 3-4 months ago to be the first one to do it. It's because I like to be ahead of the game.
I got screwed on by YouTube's latest round of.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
So
I have to bleep it out, but you can say
That's
it.
fine.
We're a family-friendly podcast.
Oh, my bad.
Blah, blah,
I didn't
blah,
know
blah.
that.
No,
Anyway,
it's okay.
I'm not family friendly. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll even you out if you said, okay, so let's see, a good word, horse. That's
Yeah.
going to be good to bleep.
To
the
bleep,
second
yeah,
part.
'cause
That's
you can-
my favorite cuss word, by the way.
Yeah.
Long-time listeners wouldn't know that because I don't
Yeah.
cuss very often. But there you go. That's
But
what
I
it is.
do, but I won't tell you what he said. It's not what you think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, no, I had this big round of events coming up that was going to keep me out of Chicago for like 3 weeks in a row.
Yep.
So I was at 99,560 subs
Yeah.
before that, and I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to reach 100,000 while I'm out because that would make sense, just the way it was going.
Yeah.
So I actually did a live stream to like the not quite 100,000 subscriber special.
Yep.
But then YouTube did a new round of things where it just started doing mass unsubs.
Yeah.
So it actually took me like an extra 3 months to get over the hurdle, which is, in hindsight, is very embarrassing.
Yep.
But it got made up for because I said, I'm Sega's Bay now. That's like my official title that
yeah.
they gave me
Yeah.
is I'm their Bay.
All right.
And as part of the celebration of 100,000, I was in London. Literally, I got back yesterday
Awesome.
for this convention. And one of the things I did is I did a live stream from Sega Europe's headquarters for my 100,000 subscriber special.
Wow. So the other thing you're well known for, we could touch on it and go deep into
Sure.
it because I know when we have a 10 minutes, we got to talk about your big one, Sega. You know where I'm going with this.
Sure.
You are known as kind of the Shenmue guy.
Yeah.
You happen to have your favorite game also be kind of almost I don't want to say spokesperson, but I'll just say that because that's the best I know about
Sure.
it. Kind of like a Sega spokesperson for this game called Shenmue.
Yeah.
First time I played it, I remember I was in college. My roommate, it was one of those stories of like, you have to play this game. You really, really just have to play this game. And so I popped it in. I was like, what the heck? I've never played anything like this. He has a little mini Sega Saturn. Am I going to get to play games on it? Oh my God, look, there's these like little coin things and I keep getting new things out and pop out. And it was just this kind of like depth and breadth that I'm sure, it could go on and on and on about. But you knew it was a different game. You knew it was a special game. I loved it. Not my favorite game of all time. The dialogue is funny as heck.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's stories about that.
I know. I've heard you do the interview with the voice actor
Yeah, yeah.
before, and you did.
I've known
something
Corey for a few years, yeah.
for something recently again with and you even asked him point blank, like, okay, you got to ask this. I remember you asked him the whole way he speaks and the manner
Yeah.
and the tone and everything he does. It's so specific, but also so, frankly, odd.
Yeah.
Right? Especially for our North American audience, it was toned more for kind of the Asian market's
Yeah.
perception of a more strong American yet subdued voice. Super interesting. You could go back and listen to it. I think that's when you were on the Dreamcast Junkyard or something when you first talked to him. I think I remember hearing that kind of thing. But anyway, Shenmue, right? I mean, what more can you say about that you haven't before? Your favorite game?
There's a lot I could say that I can't actually say because I'm under NDA. Fun thing about what you mentioned of the Saturn, you can actually play that in the game.
Yep.
If you go to the convenience store, you can actually win copies of Space Harrier and Outrun, or not Outrun, Hang On.
Yeah, I went pretty far in the game. I got past that point, but I just remember those first few moments of like, the awe of like a game inside a game, going to the arcade, playing, the pachinko parlors, stuff like that. It's just awesome. But okay, skipping ahead, this is you. This is your life. You're coming to cons. You're going to a lot of cons. You've gone to Missouri Game Con 3 times now. Probably plan on going every time. It seems to get better.
If they'll bring me, I'll go.
Yeah, and we've already kind of shout out how great this con is, but this is a perfect kind of. Well, the first time we went, it was more of a swap. Even you said,
it was in an elk lodge.
Yes,
but it was great. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. And then last year, you had a lot of fun. You did a panel I watched with Terry.
Terry Diebold, he owns the Nintendo PlayStation prototype.
Yes, I've talked about my anxiety of having that thing in my car and holding it, and how odd that was, and how strange that is. But yeah, the first time I met you was at the first convention, and the second time, and we've kind of gifted each other weird things that we like. I message you usually, and you said I've probably been your sub for quite some time.
Oh yeah, I remember your logo. It's hard to miss at the gold Dreamcast.
So probably since
early on, dude.
Yeah,
like that was like when I was going
early.
straight just Dreamcast videos for a while.
And how cool is this? And now we're sitting in the back of a con while things are going on. It's kind of winding down. And we're just talking about the past. It kind of makes you feel old. It makes me feel old.
I feel old all the time now.
Yeah. Well, you start having kids and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that part. But
yeah, so it's probably talked about Shenmue so much. You're tired of talking about it.
No, dude, I'll talk about it. It's my favorite game of all time.
Well, how about this? Can we, as much as we can talk about, we kind of know about what this game is. The remaster.
They call it a re-release.
The re-release. You have been kind of involved in that. How much can you talk about that as far as?
There's a good chunk I could talk about. So, they contacted me a while back, which was weird to have Sega come at me. Actually, the funny story about that is I didn't follow them on Twitter, and they started like tweeting at me from their account, being like, "Dude, follow us."
Yeah.
Because they couldn't PM me until they did that. So I was like, all right, Sega just told me to follow them. But your question about Shenmue.
Yes.
What was it?
Well, again, I don't know how specific I can be. I'm not used to asking NDA
feel free
questions.
to ask whatever you want. If I can't answer, I'll tell you.
Okay, so the re-release, anything new with this that fans should be excited about that's different, right?
Stuff they know about at this point, at least the Shenmue fans do. So the game is being re-released in high definition. It'll be playing 1080p.
Look at this.
What's up? We got Radical Reggie here. How you doing?
That's funny.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
No,
you're
you're
fine.
We're gonna talk about it soon, but that's what's great about doing all this stuff live or whatever. Yeah, Reggie's coming on soon. Anything real quick, Reggie? Tell us what games are in your hand right now before you leave. Go ahead, go.
I actually got Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. I got DuckTales 2, complete
love all
box
this.
for the Game Boy.
Dude.
And also Superstars of Wrestling. Box only, but I have the game, so now it's complete.
I am super jealous about that. That last Superstars one, man.
I know, it was a random find, dude, and it was just sitting there, so.
Yep.
Amazing.
This is us. We're just kids in a candy store when we're coming out. I'm
Pretty
excited
much.
about that.
Definitely.
All right, so
Thanks, guys.
yes, thanks. We'll see you later. Reggie being radical, getting the pickups.
That's what he does.
Getting the pickups as usual. Yeah. Okay. So sorry. The re-release remaster.
Right. So they're upgrading the resolution of the game. It'll play in widescreen as well.
Okay. Good. Great.
Now the cutscenes are not, because that's not how they were originally made.
Sure.
But you're going to have the ability to save anywhere.
Okay.
Unlike the original version. You're also going to have a new UI system that frankly is a lot better. You'll have more language options as well.
Yep.
You'll be able to play the game in English or Japanese.
Great.
You can also have, I think, French and German subtitles in case you want that.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah, exactly. The load times are basically non-existent.
Okay.
And they did this thing called the bloom effect. And I want to, for anybody who knows that, with Shenmue 2 for Xbox, everyone hates the bloom effect because it looked like clown makeup or something, like just scattered all across the image. This is not like that at all. They call it that, which was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But it's just a nice glowing effect that they very competently added to the game. You can turn it on or off if you don't like it.
Oh, that's good.
But it really looks good. Like, I had reservations, but I think it looks fantastic. You can also turn off the high resolution mode and turn off the widescreen if you want to, and actually play it, and it looks exactly like the Dreamcast version running through VGA. They literally give you the option to do both.
Wow.
You get first and second game, and yeah, I've been playing it. I was in London literally yesterday, and a couple days before that, I'm sitting there on their debug kits just playing games and like getting footage for them.
Yeah.
Like, the footage I recorded is going to go in their trailers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And so that has to be an awesome dream. That's like the equivalent of me, like Beyond Good and Evil, the next 2 or whatever. I get to like create a story.
I have connections to that one too, just not on the same level.
Okay,
I got a bunch of friends at Ubisoft.
Yeah.
But I don't get to do anything special. I'll probably get to play it early and record footage of it early, but that's about it.
Oh, my favorite game.
Yeah.
So beyond that, we could talk a little bit collection, because a lot of our audience are like retro collectors, this kind of thing. So I have a huge Dreamcast collection. I have a kiosk, and I have all the NTSC, and I have a lot of little quirky random stuff. I have some posters, some promotional things. I pick up controllers, random, like this.
I love
Sega
that
Sports.
controller, the Sega Sports Black
No, it's
Dreamcast
$7 or whatever, so
that's
I
a
got
good
to
deal.
do it.
Yeah.
But I have like 7 of them, so it's not a good thing because I have too many. I have too many. I'm kind of crazy, but you are just as crazy. You have a divers.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of debug kits.
Yeah.
You have the entire. I'll kind of go through it, so you just say at the. You have the North American Dreamcast set. You have also the European exclusives and the Japanese exclusives.
Years ago, I finished that.
Yeah, you did. So your collection, and you did a great time. You collect a lot of other video games. You know, you like the original Xbox. That's why you. Oh, something you don't know, I could tell you right now, and you could be like, oh, that's cool. I just picked up an original Xbox kiosk in Wichita, Kansas last week. It's awesome. Hopefully, I'll put some pictures up on the Facebook.
Yeah, please do.
It's you'll appreciate this. It's complete. The TV, the controllers. It was in a church its whole life. And it has the original Xbox in it.
That's awesome. The cool thing about that one that I remember is that they used Sanyo TVs, but they didn't want to say Sanyo, so they put like a Microsoft sticker over the word Sanyo.
Yeah. Here's what the one problem with the kiosk, and the only thing, the logo's popped off the TV. That's it. But that's it. Like everything else.
So yours doesn't actually say Microsoft on it.
It says nothing on it.
Yeah. Well, now you know. Yeah. Originally, it was a Sanyo logo, and then Microsoft didn't like that, so they put a sticker that said Microsoft over the Sanyo logo.
Gotcha.
See,
Sanyo TVs are really good, though. I like those
it was just a brand deal thing. They just didn't like that it said somebody else's name on it.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, getting a little off topic. That's my fault.
No.
So anyway, your Dreamcast collection is really, really huge. I have one question for you.
Sure.
And it doesn't have to be, because not your favorite game right now. What is your favorite Dreamcast item in your collection that you have?
The Divers 2000.
Okay.
I'm going to go Divers 2000.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just like the most oddball, insane thing. Actually, believe it or not, picked up a new Dreamcast item today.
Really?
Which was unintended. I was just standing around, and this dude named Tom came up to me, and he was like, he's like, yeah, man, have you ever seen a Dreamcast version 2? And I was like, the revision 2? No, I've never seen one. He's like, here you go. He just hands me the revision 2 model Dreamcast.
Oh, I got to see that.
Yeah, it looks. The thing is, it looks exactly like a normal Dreamcast. But the bottom, for those who don't know, the bottom of your Dreamcast will have a number, either a 0, a 1, or a 2, and it'll be circled. Most commonly, it's a 1.
Yep.
The circle was only, the 0 was only for dev kits, kiosks, and like some launch models. I have one of those. Oh. The revision 2 was pretty much the absolute last ones that Sega sent out.
Yeah.
But getting one's kind of an unlucky lottery because it's the least reliable. It's also the one that supposedly, I have never personally tested this, doesn't read MIL CD, like the ability to play the burn games or independent games.
Which the MIL CD was the thing that really just nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that didn't help them.
Times
the irony is that's what keeps the console alive now.
Okay.
Because anybody who makes independent games, what do you think they're doing?
Yeah.
They're programming it for the MIL CD.
You're right. That is a good.
In long run, it was a good thing, but in the short term, it was a bad thing. But so he gave me one. It has the 2 on it. I've never seen one before.
Yeah.
And so now I've got one. It's just sitting over there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the other thing I kind of wanted to talk to you about. Let's kind of dive a little deeper into the
Divers deeper.
Yeah, let's divers deeper. Adam Koralik. I've been asking people, these are kind of generic things.
Sure.
Top 3 favorite consoles. We already know what one of them is.
Dreamcast, Genesis, SNES. SNES was debatably number 2. This is going to sound really weird, but the reason I give it to the Genesis is because if you attach the 32X on Sega CD, so that combination of things to me is just number 2.
That's a good, we've had such interesting kind of, okay, so, and then you've kind of said this before, collectors, sometimes we don't get a chance to play many games.
Yeah.
A lot of this high is in the chase. you happen to be chasing a very interesting set right now. It's the original Xbox
Yeah.
set, but also trying to get all the exclusives.
Yeah.
You know, I went
Well, you mean regional ones?
regional
Yeah,
exclusive.
yeah.
Yes. I ended up going kind of crazy with my PS3 collection,
Sure.
as you know, right?
Yeah.
I collected that. I finished it maybe right before the. Wait, when did I finish my?
If I didn't actually know your name, I'd just call you that PS3 guy.
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky, Ben. I know you.
Lanyard. I go around. I just have it, but that's mine. But Xbox is a very close second. How many games total are you trying to get?
There's, I think, it depends on, you know how this goes, but like sometimes numbers are different depending on people's definition.
Yep.
Under my definition, there's 984.
Oh,
It's very attainable.
Very.
That to me is very doable, especially because if you go to conventions like this, you'll see that Xbox games are worthless.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants them.
Yeah.
And the reason those definitions can change is basically like, some people include like platinum hits or greatest hits. I don't.
Yeah.
Unless there's some special reason to. Like there's a Fable edition that has all the DLC on one disc. They're like, okay, get that instead.
Yes.
Or like, the one that's really weird is
I'm the same
Midnight
with
Club.
PS3 with
Yeah.
GC, yeah.
Midnight Club 3 Dub Mix Edition. It's like, it's got all new levels and stuff in it, so that's a different release.
The thrill of the chase and finally getting something, you have to think is like there's nothing like it, right? When you
No,
actually.
it's like modern day hunting.
Yeah.
Like you and I don't go out and shoot animals. This is what we do.
Yeah.
We go out and we try to find where's that rare, elusive, in my case for the Xbox, where's that rare, elusive Hello Kitty game? I'm looking for that.
I didn't even know that existed.
It's a European only thing.
Hello Kitty with a green background sounds really not easy on the eyes.
No, it's mostly a pink cover and then like the green
Yeah,
box around
that's
the
what I'm
side.
saying. Yeah,
Dude,
it's probably ugly.
Oh yeah, but I've never seen it in person.
Okay,
Yeah.
real quick, let's we'll
Yeah.
finish it up, but I have a couple little more bonus questions.
Sure.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about you, maybe by fans or something else? What do you think is the thing that some people might assume that isn't true? I don't know. That might be hard to answer.
No,
We'll see.
it's
that you play. I don't.
no. I'm trying to think. It's a good question.
Yeah.
I get a lot of flack from the RGB community.
Okay.
Who have assumed like all sorts about me. I'm
Okay.
just like, dude, I made a video just trying to help people like play their games.
Yeah.
Chill out a little. Like I had this dude who like at a convention like came up and interviewed me, and then he started asking me like hit piece questions because he was upset about a video I made like 4 years ago. I was like, dude, I don't even remember that. Like,
Yeah.
and it was mostly just because if you.
So maybe you're saying then that people
They
assume like you do get. I'll back it up. Like you do get kind of you have a stance
Yeah.
on some things when something's good quality and bad quality, but people might think like you really care about it instead of just having a preference.
Like if you want, all right. So like I love being able to make games look better.
Yes.
But if you want like dudes who are gonna be super technical about it, you go to like My Life in Gaming, like the Try and Corey.
Great
Those
guys.
dudes are on a different level of that stuff, and that's what I always tell people. But there is this, I guess if you want to go with the assumptions thing, there's this assumption that in that guy's case particularly, that I was trying to mislead people into buying them garbage. And I'm like, what possible motivation would I have for that?
Yeah.
So you get that, and you get a lot of random assumptions about like, oh, he's getting paid to do that. I'm like, dude, I would happily take Sega's money, but they don't offer it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just a fan of the game, dude.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that.
All right. All right. Last one, kind of, because these are questions that I'm trying to, because you have so many videos and you have so much content out there. If people who are fans, what else? If you didn't have gaming, and it 100% blew up, and film, so you can't go on that. If you didn't have film or gaming, and you had to kind of do something outside of this media, it might be something
Entirely.
you're interested in. Entirely.
Because usually my fallback is like I probably could get a job at Sega or something.
Yeah, no.
But I can't
I'm
do that,
saying
right?
if gaming wasn't a thing, I know this isn't.
Probably some sort of financial management. I know a lot
Yeah.
about economics.
Okay.
But it's never been enough of a passion for me
Right.
to like be like, yeah, I should work in stocks. Like, you know what I mean?
It's so funny because you and I are very different, but so much alike. Because I could probably be a really good marketer, but boy, the nuts and bolts of it don't like it.
Yeah.
But I apply some of it to the things I do in my main job, to like the podcast and all this other stuff about how our name's so stupid and dumb.
Yeah.
I just met 3 people that said, "Oh, I just searched it and found you guys. I've been listening to you forever." I was like, "Good."
For the record, I would have said like producer, but you said I can't do that.
Yeah, I said,
You can't, no
I know.
movie stuff. Otherwise, that would be my next.
I wanted
fallback.
to take away
Producer,
the
director.
easy thing. We're trying to do things that might maybe the people
When I
that
was
don't know Adam might
When I
not
was a
know.
kid, I wanted to be Batman, so I can't do that. That's out.
Yeah, but
Can't
see, I
be
didn't,
Batman.
I didn't know.
Can't be in the basket. Can't play in the NBA.
Yep.
So now, stocks. Let's do that. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I won't take any more of your time. This has been real. I think at least some people have gotten something new. Look, and I knew we'd be talking for a little. So a nice little bonus to put at the end of the episode. Of course, let you know whenever I put this up there. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. I'm glad we were able to do it.
Yeah, man.
Anything else? Anything else you want to say to our fans? A lot of our fans are people with kids. You have any kids anytime soon? What do you think about
No
it?
kids.
Ever?
But I was gonna say you kind of ruined a sweet moment there. I
Dang
was gonna
it.
say
Go ahead.
Ben's a really great dude, and one of the best fathers ever. Listen to Ben on all of his future father-related podcasts.
Oh, thank you so much.
Although I've never seen him with his kids. Maybe he's not good. I don't know. I'm assuming he is.
No, yeah, they're in one of these boxes
Because he
around
knew
here
not to
somewhere.
bring them here.
Yeah, no, that's just it. They're here. I hit him in
Oh,
one of the boxes.
never mind, he's terrible.
Yeah, I am terrible at it.
Or he's a good father because he brought them here.
All right.
I don't know. This is fun, though.
Yep. All right. Thanks so much for
My
joining
pleasure.
us. Hope to see you next year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yep, welcome.
All right, and welcome to the Video Game Dads podcast bonus interview episode. Missouri Game Con. We've had Adam Koralik, we've had Jake, and now we have the one and only Radical Reggie.
What's up, man? Glad to be here, bro.
Yeah, nice of us to finally do this. We've been trying to do this for like a year almost. You
Yeah,
know,
it's been a year, man, and we just kept falling off from it, man. But now this is the perfect time. We're more relaxed. We're just chilling.
Yeah. So for our audience and might not know, because only some people don't watch the YouTubes who follow us. So Reggie, you came to Missouri Game Con. You were invited last year. You were invited this year too, as kind of the YouTube talent. You have been on YouTube for how long now?
Actively, I've been on it live. I mean, like doing it for around 5 years now.
Yeah.
5 years. Wow.
Yeah. So gaming-wise, if you could kind of put yourself in like two sentences or whatever about what your channel does, what you're known to as far as gaming. I know, part of the Metal Jesus crew, as they say, that kind of thing.
I say gaming knowledge is where I excel at. Where certain games that nobody's heard of, and when I talk about them, these games become sought after because people are like, oh my god, I didn't know this game existed. So my knowledge, I think, has really helped me with my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Spreading the word. I like doing that.
Yep.
That's good to do.
So you and I, we kind of dig the PlayStation. That's how you and I bond. Like Adam Koralik, it's me and the Dreamcast. You and I, we kind of have this link of like, there's something about the PlayStation. And to be honest, the other two guys who aren't here right now, boy, they dig the Nintendo, and that's why I've been meaning to want to talk to you right now. And you're so popular, everybody wants to talk to you at all times. It's good we were able to take these like 10 minutes to just talk about it. So, PlayStation, tell me where your love for the PlayStation came.
So when I moved with my mom back in '95, I moved to LA, and I had to start at a new high school, and I had the Super Nintendo, but I was falling off from it. So I was like, I had good games like Turtles in Time, Contra 3, and all the stuff people would love to have today.
Yep.
I ended up trading all that stuff in because I thought I was done with video games, and then my nephew had brought over the PlayStation.
Yep.
And he showed me Resident Evil. Now, what caught my eye, what turned me on to Resident Evil was that it had FMV in the game as well as gameplay.
Yep.
So that's something I always wanted video games to have. They wanted them to have that kind of movie feel to it, like that kind of thing. So that really attracted me to it. And when I played Resident Evil, I was blown away. And then like a year later, not a year later, I'll say like a few months later, Resident Evil 2 was supposed to come out.
Yep.
So that gave me incentive to get the freaking the PlayStation. So that's where my love for it really started, is right there.
Yep. So, out of all the PlayStation systems, your favorite is PS1, would you say?
PS1.
Okay.
It pretty much goes in order. My least favorite one, I would say, is the PS3. And the only reason is because I do love
We're
the
not
PS3.
friends anymore. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
love the PS3
Yeah,
since
yeah.
I hated like the patches and updates. And then
No,
like,
I hear you.
the first model PS3 didn't last on me, so I felt like I wanted that thing to last. The first model 60 gig PS, that thing is sought after, but the fail rate on it is half and half. So, well, I won't even say it's half and half. That's more of a 360 thing.
Yeah.
But when I lost that thing, man, it hurt, man, because I wanted that thing to last forever. I took good care of it, but ended up dying on me.
Yeah. So you love that. You also love JRPGs.
Yes,
which
very much.
If anybody in our audience knows, us dads not the most schooled in the JRPGs. We'll play some. We even had a couple video game book club picks of the certain JRPGs. We just don't have as much time for them, but you have quite the passion for them, and that's where your knowledge excels. I remember when I was watching back in the day casually some of the Metal Jesus videos, I was like, dude, this guy really likes JRPGs. It's making me not necessarily want to dive into them, but learn about them, which is great, because I think that's something that, to your credit, I'll toot your horn, tooty toot the Reggie horn, is I think a lot of people draw to you is you have some enthusiasm for the games you like.
Yeah.
And what is great is, I think you know and acknowledge, not everybody likes the games I like, but I'm still going to talk about them as if I want you to learn about them. And that's what's great about it. You don't really apologize for the games that you like. You just say, hey, I like this game because it does this, because of this combat system's not this. I might not fully know what you're talking about, but hey, I'm engaged because you're into it. And that's what...
and that's the thing, yeah, exactly. And another thing too is like, I know certain games are bad, but I always try to find the good in those games that still make it worth playing. Like here's a game, a survival horror game that people really dislike or got bad ratings, a game called Amy. And Amy is a survival horror game about a woman trying to protect a child. And I thought that was a perfect thing for survival horror. Like that's interesting because a woman trying to protect this child from all the horrors around her. The game didn't do too well, and it had a lot of some glitches and everything, but I saw past those glitches and I still was able to enjoy the game. Yeah. So I think I turned a few people onto that even though it had problems. So yeah, because I was pumped about that game. The game is awesome. Yep.
That was Zachary Maynard. We should shout him out. It looks like he got a pretty good pickup right there.
Yep.
Something else some people might know, not everybody, you were also a veteran, right?
Yes, I did 4 years, 2000, 2004. Crazy times, man.
Yeah, I bet. Thank you for your service. The only thing I was going to kind of go into is as much as you want to. So you were in the Army. You had to do a little bit of gaming.
I did. Gaming kind of helped us get by, emotionally when things got rough in the Army. Because as I went in, well, here's a funny thing. So I got through basic training, and my job was automated logistics. That's like warehouse type work. And we were holdovers for I want to say 3 months. So we had to. That means we didn't get into school until 3 months. We were just sitting at the barracks, just kind of just lounging around because we couldn't get into school because they were packed. So to kind of help the time there, I got the PS1 with monitor, so I could play in the room. Yeah. But we couldn't. We had to hide it, of course. When they saw, they took it away from us. So that's where I finally. That's where that love for that system came through for me. So I was back there having a good time with that. Nobody knew. A couple of friends knew about it and everything, but that's where my love for that grew. So that helped us out a lot because being a holdover is not easy because when you get in there, you want to get your job, you want to get your school, and you want to move on. Being in a stalemate, it's it really sucks. So to keep us emotionally good, we had to do things to occupy our mind. Our minds just playing video games because we couldn't leave the post. So it was really tough. So
and also I'm just wondering too, the JRPGs, you kind of got to lose yourself in those games, right?
You do. It's like reading a good book or watching a good movie. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just it's different. You're playing it, and you can play it how you want. So that's how I look at that type of stuff.
And so that also makes you think. You're kind of also, only some people would know this, you like those PS1 screen. By the way, those PS1 flip-up screens are amazing.
They are,
They're
man.
the same one that are put in the specific Zenith ones for the GameCube. That's why the Zenith ones look so dang good.
They're great.
Because they are the PS1 screens.
That's what they are,
to this day, yes.
I did not know that. I did not know. That's awesome.
So the Intech ones suck. But if you get the Zenith ones, they kind of flip up and they look more circular, kind of like this. They don't have the square end. Those are the PS1 screens. That's why those
look so well.
Yeah, and if you ever see one of those, you should almost pick one up knowing that the guts are, are the PlayStation one. So you you have a bunch of them, right?
Yeah, well, I have my original one that I had from the Army years ago.
Nice, and it still works?
It still works fine. Well, the first one I had was the Intech one, the ones that suck.
Yeah, see?
But the only thing about those that were cool is that you could hook other systems to it.
Yeah.
So that's why I had that one. I eventually got the PlayStation 1, but I collected them over the years.
Yep.
And they're just nostalgic to me. That's why I collect them. And there's a bunch of different kinds out there. And I just love them. And they just bring back so many good memories. So
Nice.
that's one of the only things I hoard. And I don't mind, man. I love those things. I was hoping to find one here. So
Yeah. Well, you probably you're so used to, you said earlier, like, I didn't want it taken away. You're probably like, if everyone gets taken away, that's why I got many of them, right? We always think, like, how do we get so crazy as collectors? Myself included, I talk about it all the time. We always, anytime I refer to myself and Shane, we are crazy collectors. Like, there's something a little off. But you know what? If we didn't have the gaming, we'd be super crazy. This just keeps us normal.
Exactly.
And so, right?
Yep.
And really, it's like you said earlier, you don't want them gone. Maybe that's why you got so many of them, because if there's any excuse to lose one, you always got another one.
Yeah,
backed up, right?
if it breaks
Isn't that
down or
funny?
something like that, I have that other one, man. It's great.
Well, since you're in the great state of Missouri, which probably have you been in Missouri before you came here for Mo GameCon last time?
No, I think this is my first time in Missouri. I mean, last year was.
Right.
So yeah, I haven't been anywhere else besides this event here.
Out of all the things outside of gaming, the city or that kind of thing, if it's Ted Drew's or whatever, food or whatever, what do you think's your favorite kind of thing that you look forward to when you came here, maybe?
Really, just hanging out with friends like yourself and everybody. That's why I was when I got on the floor. And, I wanted to hunt for games, but everybody who stopped me, I talked to them for a long time.
Yep.
Hello to them, got to know them.
Yep.
That's mainly what I wanted to do. I don't know if you could tell my voice is kind of going out. That's because I've been talking all day. But
all day, dude. And I believe it. I can tell you, I can toot the horn of you and your whole crew. Like, you give the time of day to all of them, and of course, you're brought in here for that. But that's some work here. That's not the easiest thing to do, to go and talk to people all the time when they come up, and especially people you don't know. So you're constantly kind of doing small talk, but these are your fans.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, when you're having a crap day back at home or whatever, this is just me talking, probably you would agree. I just, people come up and listen to our podcast, it just makes you feel good. And that's all I need, really.
Yeah.
I don't need all this other stuff. It's nice when they give you other stuff or whatever else, but like, all you need is that appreciation for your work, and at the end of the day, not everybody gets that. It makes you feel for people who don't get this kind of stuff.
Seriously,
right?
man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of fun here, man. I mean, like I said, it was great talking to everybody. I'm sad it's we're closing out of it, man. But I look forward to this event. This is the first event I actually got invited to. I haven't even been invited to my hometown gaming show. So this is really cool, man.
And plus I'll get to see you soon because I'm going to Portland.
You were going to Portland this year. I missed you last year, man.
Yeah.
I remember
every other year I'm going to try to do it every 2 years. Every year is too tough for me,
I hear you, man. I know, man. But I remember the other year you were there and you found the Resident Evil randomly, which is awesome for PS3. That was awesome, dude.
But I knew what it was, and that guy, like, I shot him an offer. It was the weirdest exchange ever. Mm-hmm. I shot him an offer that was low, and he just stared at the game for like 15 seconds and then just nodded his head. And I was like, okay, that was the weirdest. Fine. It's like, it felt like I was just telling him like he got a
registered, like after, like it was registered.
You have this terrible affliction that you have, and it just looked like I just sucked the life out of him. I was like, dang, man, I probably would have bumped it up a little bit because I didn't want to bum you out. That's kind of what it felt like. Anyway, so I've been asking everybody this, top 3 favorite systems, no particular order, so it's not hard. Just boom, shout them off, 3 favorite.
PS1, top favorite, Dreamcast.
Handheld could be included in that, just so you know.
I would love to, man, but I got to go with PS2. I mean, top 3. If you want handhelds, they'll be in the top 10, but top 3, I got to go with consoles.
Yep. Those are all great choices. I can tell you Jake Friedel's was really surprising. Can I tell you what it was? It's the most batty, I was almost going to cuss again, family-friendly show. Thank you for being the first guest that hasn't cussed yet on this interview that I got to beep out. Your mom raised you well. You could send this interview to your mom, right?
There you go,
Shout out to your mom.
Yep.
And you've also incled your mom in a couple of your episodes.
Yeah, she was in town. Was it last year? And I said, you know what, Mom, we got to shoot some videos with me. And those people loved those videos. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She was cracking me up in that video.
Yeah.
Because my mom's brutally honest and everything, so it's funny.
Yep, right? You can't escape that. There's nothing like that authenticity, right? You could have anybody else on. It's really family that really tell it like it is.
Oh, yeah,
right?
definitely.
I even lost my whole train of thought. So we were talking favorite games. Worst game you ever played?
Worst game? Ooh, that's a tough one. It definitely has to be a Sega CD game. It was a full motion video game.
All right.
Who Shot Johnny Rocket or something like that, or Johnny something? I can't remember.
Is that the one?
That's the one you just got.
That's the one I just bought?
Yeah,
Are
man.
you serious? That's awesome.
The FMB in this is like the worst I've ever seen. You can barely see it. It's so grainy.
I
And
bet.
it's so small, too.
I love this. So I wish we were doing video, but I literally am picking up the worst game you ever played. Here's why I picked it up. I've never heard of it before, and look at that cover. Look
The
how
cover.
stupid that is. It's
I know,
so
man.
good.
I think that gun, she has a Tommy gun, which is cool, so.
Oh, and it's MA17. I didn't even realize that either. This whole thing is just like. Anyway, so I'm glad to pick up your least favorite game. I can't wait to not play that game, just like everything else.
I know, right?
But anyway, where can you find you, Reggie? If some of our listeners who don't know you want to find you,
If you want to check me out, check out Radical Reggie on YouTube, or the Radical Reggie Facebook, all that good stuff. That's where you can find me most of the time. I have a Twitter as well.
Yep. And you're in a game. We have to talk about that real quick. You're in an NES game, right?
NES game, Reggie's Radical Adventures, which is a modification of Ninja Jamaru.
Yep.
It's basically like another version of Super Mario Brothers 3, which is my favorite Mario game.
It's an awesome game.
It is, man.
Again, at the end of the day, even if I'm having a bad day, it's like, I'm one of how many people that have an NES game with me. You know,
I know.
Yeah, right.
I think I was one of the first ones that got my NES game like that, and it was great.
I remember because I didn't know about hacks. I remember when I saw that video, I was like blown away. I was just like, what is this thing? It's so cool. So anyway, cool thing to again hang your hat on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll put these at the end of our episodes as they kind of come out, so people could kind of hear these bonus episodes. Check out Radical Reggie, the whole Metal Jesus crew. Awesome to see you again. I'll see you again in like 3 months, man.
That's right, man. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Boom.
Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.